who's been extremely productive, but added they've got a lot of work ahead. Despite the incredible talent Brown possesses, it's hard to imagine his tenure in New England works out, says ESPN's Jack Del Rio.
I know Antonio is a gifted football player, and I know the Patriots have been the team that can kind of absorb different guys and decide if they want to, continue on after a short time or not. It's just so toxic. What I watch from AB, it doesn't fit.
Jack Del Rio on Golic and Wingo. Coach Bill Belichick said no decisions yet been made whether Brown will be active Sunday.
Great news. There's a quick way you could save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Oh, you think the Oakland Raiders would have won that game with Antonio Brown on the roster? Maybe.
I'm not hating because I had Tyrell Williams in fantasy, so
I kept seeing
more
that.
Power to him.
I mean, listen, if you win by 1 or 1,000 in fantasy, doesn't matter. I think you won by like 200 and something points.
It was like one. I think it was 176 to not that. Basically, let's just say. So, I mean, I don't think the scoreboard really matters, Brent. But I made a statement. Let's just say that much.
You did.
I made a statement to everybody, and everybody's on notice now.
I had a good matchup going.
Yeah.
This is how I thought I'd start the show on a Tuesday at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690, my fantasy football team, because I talk so much fantasy football.
Yeah.
But we should just do the whole show. Let's just get everybody's fantasy football reaction. Overreaction, not enough reaction, trade everybody away, your teams stink. Let's do it all on fantasy football front. But I had a good matchup. I'm down like 47 points going into the night, but I have Hopkins and Michael Thomas.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I'm down 15 points with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And I got Hopkins and Thomas. And so now they missed the extra point. And I'm like, yes, we're going to overtime. I might win this thing.
Yep.
I lost by 3 points.
Sorry to hear that,
3.4 points. But I was in on it. That was the first time I was like excited about fantasy football. And it has to be a decade.
Yep.
So there we go.
Glad to hear it.
Thanks for getting me involved.
Aboard. Well, it was more.
No, I could lose
idea.
a lot of interest in a hurry.
Thanks for making me the whole league owner of this thing. I really appreciate being the commissioner.
Yeah, well, I had to give you some credit because you screwed up the draft and everything else. So
that I did.
Brett Martin, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Tuesday. All right. How we doing? We doom and gloom? We okay about the Jags? Have we moved on? Did Houston's 0-1? The Colts are 0-1. The Jags are 0-1. Tennessee's Tennessee, but they're 1-0. That's fine. Somebody's got to win a game. Hey, the Jags didn't lose any ground. Think about it this way. You want more sunshine and rainbows to start the day? Jags didn't lose much ground in the AFC South.
No.
And they played their hardest opponent of 2019.
Sunshine and rainbows.
Accurate?
Very accurate. Let me ask you a question, Brent. And you said, how am I doing today? How am I feeling? Watching that Texans offensive line, I'm confident in the Jaguars defensive line doing very well, feasting, if you will. I do think Texans have a lot of good receivers. I talked about Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills showed up last night, had a major touchdown to set him up for the game winner. Unfortunately, the Texans chose to go prevent defense, and I get it. Hindsight's 20/20. Drew Brees kind of drives down the field. They kick a game-winning field goal. Saints win. But my question to you is, should I be losing sleep over a backup quarterback right now or not? Like, should I really be questioning why you would spend a 5th-round pick on Joshua Dobbs, or should I just let it go? That's my question
Let it
to
go.
you. Okay, but here's my whole philosophy, Brent. And I brought up the 5th-round pick yesterday, right? I'm saying you can't waste the 5th-round pick on a guy like that. And you said the team's all in, right? The team's all in for winning this season. They're not worried about next year.
Yeah, I don't think you can worry about that if you're those guys.
So my question to you is, if you're all in right now, You're not worried about what the outside thinks. You're not worried about next season. And I get it. I'm probably going to get some scrutiny here, but why wouldn't you at least give Kaepernick a tryout to see where he's at on the field if you're not worried about what the public perception is, you're not worried about next year?
Well, I think two things. One, I think they slammed that door shut a couple years ago when it got brought up. Now, Shad Khan said pretty much, I don't know if he didn't go out of his way to endorse. He just did not say, I wouldn't be for it at all. He said if he's, I don't even want to put words in his mouth. I remember the final thing was absolutely when asked, and now I can't remember how the question was phrased to him. But the bottom line is he didn't rule it out as the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he's also very adamant that he didn't make the football decisions, the day-to-day decisions. He leaves that. He's not Jerry Jones in that regard. And Tom Coughlin, I remember right around that same time, dismissed it right away. Right away. I mean, just very dismissive of the idea of Kaepernick. Now, that was years ago. I think the whole Kaepernick thing is, at the very least right now, cooled down, right? I mean, it's not 2017 temperature of the whole Kaepernick thing, although the Kaepernick thing has remained in the spotlight to a degree. It hasn't impacted people watching games, people going games. It's not like that, like it was in 2017, at least that we know of. But I think so it's not necessarily about as much the distraction, although there's certainly, I think people inside that building would say, wait a minute, we just had a captain for a second straight year ejected out of a game. We had an immature locker room last year. Can we handle something else? Can we handle an Antonio Brown? Can we handle a Kaepernick situation? Can we, you have to ask yourself, can you handle those things? And then I do think it is the fact, the one thing we always forget about with the Kaepernick is, one, how good is he to begin with? And two, how good will he be when he hasn't played football in 3 years? And do you want to take that on? So that's why, to me, Kaepernick, from a football-only standpoint, and I'm a guy that came on the show last week and said, wait a minute, we're in a world where Antonio Brown gets chance after chance after chance after chance, and I understand he's more talented than Kaepernick, but he gets chance after chance after chance after chance, and a guy like Kaepernick now has been pretty much out of the league for 3 years and not given chances that we know of. So I don't like that part of it, but I think from a football-only standpoint, I would question how much I'm going to get out of Kaepernick for the return of putting him on my roster when a guy hasn't played for 3 years. And especially given the situation that it's September 10th. It's not like it's March something or May something or even late July, early August, where you can get a guy up to speed and see what he's like and then make your cuts and your assumptions and calculations after that. So that's why I think the Kaepernick thing really doesn't make sense midstream for a lot of football teams.
Listen, and I'm not saying it has to be Kaepernick. I'm just saying a vet that you can bring in and at least work out.
Well, you saw the list of veterans, man. I mean, you want Tom Savage? Do you want Brock Osweiler?
If you're going to cut him a couple of because here's my question. So you're going to, assuming Foles is coming back, right? I mean, I missed the MO where Foles is out for the season.
No, he's coming back. I mean, Doug Marrone says they expect him back.
So then what do you do with your new backup quarterback that you paid a 5th-round pick for once Foles comes back? Did you just chalk him up and say, hey, man, thanks for the time, and we'll see you later? Here's a 5th round. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just too far into this 5th round pick, Brent.
Well, that's an interesting point, too, is what do they do? I mean, what have they cornered themselves? Do they all of a sudden keep 3 quarterbacks? Which I think they could do.
I mean,
from an investment standpoint, you almost have to.
But I'm just saying, you got a guy in Josh Dobbs. And listen, I don't know the connection to DeFilippo. I don't know if they have any connection whatsoever. I mean, I look at his stats, and I haven't watched a lot of Joshua Dobbs, right? I really haven't. But I look at his preseason stats, not that good. I think Magoo is, leading touchdown drives. Not saying they should have got Magoo back, but it begs the question. I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm caught up right now on a backup quarterback. I'm sure, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, we don't have to talk about him at all for the time that Nick Foles is out now.
We're hoping not to talk about Minshew for the rest of the season.
And here we are, right?
10 minutes in, we're talking about him.
And here we are.
Listen, I think your point, I do think we have spent more time talking about a backup quarterback in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And we will continue to do that now because of Minshew and the situation. Then I can remember talking about backup quarterbacks in Jacksonville in quite some time. Even given their horrendous, at times, quarterback situation, I don't think we talked about backup quarterbacks this much. But part of that is Nick Foles was a backup so many times. So part of the storyline is what he was and now is or was supposed to be for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't think it's unfair to wonder that. I do think you have a little bit of an unhealthy man crush on Magoo. And just because of the shirt deal that you tried to work out. And so I think you got to be a little cautious of getting business in the way of reality.
You can go ahead and quote, I have a unhealthy man crush on Alex McGough because I saw him lead touchdown drives. Can Dobbs say the same thing this preseason against 2s and 3s?
Honestly, I haven't watched a ton of Joshua Dobbs. I really haven't.
I'm just saying, I mean, hey, I don't care how Magoo did it, if he did it with his legs or if he did it with his arm. He led touchdown drives. Yeah, that's all I care about, man.
I liked Magoo. I liked what he had to offer. I was surprised they didn't keep him, even if it did cost that extra money on the practice squad. And there was some talk today, I think, out of some of the Jags shows that they do on Jaguars.com that the Jags were interested in going back out and getting Magoo. Mm-hmm. I heard that kind of secondhand, so I didn't hear it or see it or whatever on wherever it was. But I don't know. So I just think we're going a little crazy on Magoo, where is Dobbs. Here's the difference with Dobbs. You invest the 5th-round pick, but you don't have to spend money. Like, how much would Osweiler cost versus Dobbs? Probably a lot, like $500,000 more or a few $100,000 more, which seems like peanuts to me in the NFL. Maybe it's more of an expensive guy that you already know what you're getting. Maybe there's a little hope with Dobbs. I don't know what they're thinking. I haven't talked to a lot of folks down there on the Dobbs front.
And I'm just from the philosophy that if you're going to spend the money, then spend the money, but don't waste the draft picks. But that's just me. And I get it. There are folks about this year, but I think, even a 5th-round draft pick can be super vital and super important. Well, that's just how I feel.
But here's the thing. Let me take them to I'm trying to think like they would think. Mm-hmm. And if Minshew, who got, by the way, popped against Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
And isn't afraid to move around that pocket and run a little bit. So if he gets dinged up, this is a guy in Dobbs that, I said it yesterday, he knows how to at least be a backup for the first couple of years of his career. He's a very intelligent kid. I think it's like, I say kid, young man.
Well,
it's like aeronautic.
Like a rocket science major in Tennessee. No,
aeronautic engineering or whatever. I don't know what the heck it is. I don't know what it's even called. But so he's very smart.
Yeah.
So are they saying, listen, yes, our jobs are on the line. We understand that. We know what's going on here. And if Minshew, we cannot get caught with our pants down here and say, if Minshew goes out this week against Houston, or give it 2 weeks, or it's a Tennessee game on a short week, or whatever it might be, we really don't want to ride with a guy like Magoo, who's never really played at that level and hasn't been around as long as Dobbs, and maybe they thought wasn't picking up the offense as well as he could have. Maybe there's something like that. We have no idea.
No,
but
we're not in those meetings.
Probably going to be a guy that can pick up the offense pretty quick, and at least you could be comfortable with him running your system maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road. Listen, I'm kind of making stuff up. I'm trying to make you feel a little bit better. I want you to sleep a little bit more.
I don't like being all fed up. All worked up over a backup quarterback, Brent. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
this isn't me.
You lose sleep over it. I've hardly thought about it.
Yeah, I'm just draft picks, man.
I mean, listen,
that's where you build your team is in the draft, Brent.
I know, but they have an extra 5th. They're not giving away the farm.
Yeah.
Then, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. See,
here's the deal.
Now I'm starting to turn Brent. Now Brent's going to start losing sleep about it, too.
I'm not losing sleep about Joshua Dobbs. I'm not going to, because you know why? Minshew's the man. Minshew's my man now. You know what I'm thinking about doing? Kuz, you going to jump on board? Everybody grow a mustache. We're wearing bandanas in here.
I would have
on Friday.
Kuz can't grow a mustache, though. You're asking too much of the kid.
How about bandanas on Friday for a little Minshew magic in Houston?
Cool. I'm done with that.
Yeah. Let's talk about Minshew coming up next. All right. We're going to talk about the starting quarterback.
Here's a real question. On Friday, can I wear jean shorts and a tank top? Because I feel like that's right up Minshew's alley.
Maybe we should do it.
Let's do it. All right. I mean, I'm not saying for you, but if you want to wear it, by all means. Bro.
I'm going to have to go borrow jorts from a Gator fan. It's all coming up on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jags with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Pretty hot yet again today under mostly to partly sunny skies. Just an isolated brief shower and highs in the lower 90s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Florida. This is sportsmanship. School sports, It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations. Or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 105-7788.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Where I'm from, marijuana is legal. Can I use it in Florida? Nah, it's illegal here, man. But I have PTSD. Should I at least try to get medical marijuana?
That's legal, but if I were you, I'd talk to my doctor about qualifying conditions and to find out if medical marijuana is even right for you.
Thanks. I'll talk to my doctor.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. Clearly, it's because I'm on every morning from 6 till 10 a.m. But this isn't about me. It's about your business. Get your business noticed today. First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get on our team than right now. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Beard's Diamonds guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a GIA certified diamond in North Florida. Shop Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
Is today the day it'll finally stop raining?
We sure hope so, but it's been a very wet summer so far. This is Mike with Big Fish Roofing. Don't forget, your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Here at Big Fish Roofing, as an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we are locally owned and we drive our business with quality and integrity. We do not require any down payments until your roof project is complete. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing. We are the roofers you can trust. We are Big Fish Roofing.
That's the crossroads.
So then
Correct.
you would have Jerry Jones basically saying we're not paying market value for what this guy would be worth.
He just came out and said you can win a Super Bowl without winning a rushing title.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Hi, this is Grayson Marshall Jr., 2016 ACC legend, and you're listening to ESPN 690.
Hey, welcome back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. It'll be a tired show for Austin Lane. He's just not getting any sleep over giving up that 5th-round pick. Hey, you know what? Who knows if he'll even be here?
Pick, Brent. Okay.
I don't understand.
I was
is
a
that
5th
really
round
it?
pick.
Is there something, if this was a 6th-round pick or a 4th-round pick, would you feel better?
It might be that. It might be Telvin Smith was a 5th-round pick, and look what they got out of him. I don't know. I just feel like I have a bond with all the 5th-round picks out there.
Maybe that's true.
Yeah.
Who was this year's 5th-round pick? Quincy Williams was 3rd. We didn't have a 4th in Jacksonville.
Armstead was a 3rd.
Armstead.
Was he the 5th round?
Yeah, Armstead was a 5th.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Backup running back, baby.
Yeah, one of my favorite backup running backs in the NFL right now, Brent. Just because he's the 5th round pick. Didn't have him on fantasy quite yet, but we'll see.
By the way, gosh, it's astonishing how slim or thin they are.
Yeah.
Behind Leonard Fournette, really, because who knows what they're going to get out of Armstead. I mean, I like the guy too. But it's a blind faith in this kid. And it just, if anything does happen to Leonard, which has happened to Leonard in the first couple of years, they really don't have much. Well, and now, listen, we said you can't lose Foles or Fournette. Mm-hmm. They sure as hell can't lose both of them.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. We had the over-under for the Chiefs game at 30. I'm not sure how that actually panned out with Leonard Fournette.
No, it was under. It was 13 carries, which was 5.1 a clip, by the way, which is a very good start.
Very good.
The reason they couldn't keep feeding them is because they were chasing.
Exactly.
And some people brought that up, and that was a good point, and they won the day on that. Jaguars really threw the ball quite a bit, and I think he ended up with 4 receptions for 28 yards, so 17 touches. He was on the pace.
No, absolutely.
But he didn't get it.
Flow of the game.
And so I think that's the case, though, right? I think it's going to be, somewhere. I was talking to Ty today about it, and he's like, he doesn't think they should pound him for 28 times, in a game or whatever. But I said, I think he'll get on average. It'll be somewhere, if you can draw up an ideal scenario, be between 18 and 22 carries and somewhere between 4 and 6 receptions. So you're looking at a minimum of 22 touches and a maximum of 28 touches. I'm talking ideal. So somewhere between 22 and 28 is somewhere they'd like to live. And can they do that? The flow of the game, where they are in the game, you might run the ball more if they're up because then they want to grind it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
If they have to chase mode, then they're going to throw it a little bit more. I could see games where he gets 7, 8, 9 catches, 2 out of the backfield.
I think with Foles going down now, I think that, Leonard Fournette's got to even carry the load even more now.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're going to depend on him even more than they were planning on depending on him, which we thought, according to the Chiefs game, was a lot, in the run game and in the pass game. So now when you have this rookie Gardner Minshew come in, teams start to game plan and everything, I'm sure they're going to stack the box. But at the same time, Leonard Fournette's got to be the man now.
And that's a fascinating thing to think about, right? Gardner Minshew does well. And credit to DiFilippo. He said, you know what? We're not going to go out here and protect this kid and just say, we'll hand off to Leonard, we'll throw screen plays. He ran the offense. Now, they probably ran an abridged version of the offense, but bottom line is he threw it 25 times. They weren't in that much at chase mode. There were times in the game, but when Minshew comes into the game, they're down 10 points. And they were down 10 points at halftime, and they were down 10 points early in the third quarter. And they were running that offense to kind of stay, within striking distance. But I didn't really get the feel like they were overprotecting him. What will they do now? Because Houston will load the box. They have to shut down Fournette, and you have to say, all right, Minshew, do it again. You might have just played the best game you'll ever play. Like, that would be my mentality if I was Houston, say, all right, do it again, 22 or 25, or go hit a 3rd and 11 play and see if we don't pick it off or you don't get it deflected. Or, if I'm Houston, that's what I'm saying to myself. What do you think they will come out in? How much will they load the line of scrimmage? Keep in mind, we're in a place in Jacksonville where they've had offenses where we've seen goal line defenses at midfield against a guy like Blake Bortles before.
Yeah.
Maurice Jones-Drew, I feel like he saw 15 guys in a box for an entire season.
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert couldn't throw it outside of an 8-yard box because he either didn't have enough time or wouldn't stay in there long enough. So how do they do this? Will they continue to run their offense and utilize players that made plays? Conley, DJ Chark, get Marquise involved. D.D. Westbrook's their best playmaker outside of Leonard Fournette, and not just be so predictable and say, hey, we're throwing Leonard at you, and kill Leonard while you're doing it.
So as you're analyzing this Jaguars offense right now, they're going to have to rely on Leonard Fournette a lot. And if I'm a defense, I probably do stack the box, at least to start things off and make, basically make a 6th-round pick in Gardner Minshew, a rookie, beat you. So that's what I would do. But you have to keep in mind with John DiFilippo's offense now with the wide receivers, they don't have that solid caliber, like stud, like one receiver,
Absolutely,
right? Like they don't have the Julio
It's
Jones.
by committee.
They don't have the Adam Thielen, whatever. But what they do have, I think, is 3 pretty damn good wide receivers, at least what we saw against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, how much of that is a bad Chiefs defense, we'll see. But I think that you can do a lot of things in the fact that, if you're a defense, you're game planning right now, what receiver are you going to key on the most? I guess you would say D.D. Westbrook, because that's kind of been the hype all the preseason was D.D. Westbrook's going to be the guy. D.D. Westbrook's going to be the guy. Well, here comes DJ Chark out of nowhere, and I thought had, probably the best receiving performance out of anybody that game. And then you have Chris Conley as well, who had a pretty good receiving performance. So
Best one of his career.
Exactly. So if you're the Texans defense, for instance, right now, and you're trying to game plan, you're going to stack the box a little bit. You're going to have a pissed off J.J. Watt who had a horrible game. I'm going to be honest. I don't say
Didn't even know he was out there.
And I'm not going to say that word lightly. I'll be honest. Didn't have a tackle, didn't have a QB hit, didn't have a pressure, I don't think. He didn't have a good game. So I think you're going to have a ticked off J.J. Watt coming up now. So you do have to still throw the ball a little bit. You can't be afraid of him. You have to have faith in your offensive line. And I think if you just throw those short to intermediate passes to your receivers that you have, you're going to be okay. But to keep in mind this too, Brent, the preseason, we talked about Gardner Minshew a lot, and it was a roller coaster, right? Baltimore. Horrible game. I mean, welcome to the NFL rookie. He comes back home, Philadelphia. Pretty good game. He showed a lot of progress. Then they go to Miami, and I thought he regressed a little bit after that, right? He made some more mistakes and everything, and then he comes back again and shows an okay performance against the Falcons. But what do I take away from those preseason games? On the road, didn't do so well. At home, did a lot better.
Very good.
Well, now you're going to
Didn't
Houston.
even think about that.
Yeah, well, now you're going to Houston, which can be a pretty loud place to play, and you're coming off a ticked-off Houston team. He's going to have to bring it.
Oh, it's going to be tough. No doubt. It's going to be tough. One thought, too, and I feel like Ty produces our show sometimes because he asked me this question. He said, who's their number one wide receiver? And I said, my answer to him was, well, who did not really have a bunch of touches or catches on Sunday of the big three? Well, the answer is D.D. Westbrook. I said, you know why? Because they showed him the most attention.
True.
Defenses are going to be most worried about D.D. Westbrook. And so they are going to shade his way. I don't know if they're going to double team him. I'm not sure they have that much respect for D.D. Westbrook. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you're going to show focus to anybody on their receiving core, and maybe these guys open their eyes, but I think people are still going to say, all right, DJ Chark, do it again. All right, Chris Conley, have you had 7 touchdowns in your career. Can you do it again? I mean, I think that's what defenses will do. D.D. Westbrook, I think people view as this guy could be dangerous now. He can catch an 8-yard slant play and go. And he can make plays, and he's physical. So my feeling is that's who they're trying to focus on, even though they really don't have a true number one, and it's by committee. I think defenses still will focus on number 12.
And listen, this kind of reminds me of the Blake Bortles scenario where teams used to stack the box on Blake Bortles, right? But I think the difference between, I guess it was Hackett's offense back then compared to John DeFilippo's offense now is the fact that, when they're stacking the box against Blake Bortles, you kind of knew a run was coming or a pass was coming, right? Because usually they had either a tight end. I mean, the formations dictated that, they're definitely going to run the ball, or no, they're split out wide, now they're going to pass the ball. I think with what you can do and the way the trend is going now in the NFL, you see the Rams do it. You saw the Saints do it a little bit last night, is if I'm John DeFilippo, I'm actually looking at, can I go bunch a little bit? Can I not rely on those tight formations, maybe 2 tight ends and things like that? Don't give away you're going to run the ball. Maybe go with the bunch formation because you have the receivers to do it. You have a great blocking receiver in Marquise Lee. Go out from the bunch and then run the ball a little bit because that's going to spread the defense out. The last thing you want to do is, have everybody in a box thinking the run's coming the whole time. So I think if you can go the bunch formation a little more, spread everybody out, that's going to leave holes open for Fournette, and hopefully you can capitalize on those.
Or there's a play in the Oakland game yesterday with Tyrell Williams is outbound himself. They have everything bunched up that looks like a run. They burn a little play action, and he just beats his man for a post and down the middle of the field, 25-yard gain. Well, they can show that if they're able to call that. And the one thing is you have to trust your offensive line to do that.
No, exactly. And we're talking about the Raiders, man, who I thought had a great performance. Give Gruden some credit,
Give him a lot of credit.
All things considered, I thought he called a great game.
We'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, and Von Miller, Nick Chubb, goose eggs. I mean, there you go. Say no more.
Bradley Chubb,
I'm sorry, not Nick Chubb. Yeah, Bradley Chubb. Thank you.
Denver,
zeros.
bad performance.
Horrible performance.
Bad performance. Flacco and everybody else. Let's go to the line, then we're going to get to a break. We'll talk more about the rest of the NFL in just a bit and a lot of Jags because that's what we do. South Beach Gary, what's happening, man? Well, we weren't sure if you'd call in until next week, but then you're probably a little bit afraid what you might see next week against the Patriots.
Well, let's make the song of the day one by 3 Dog Night. Look, I knew there were going to be growing pains. Yes, it was a long day, but things can only get better after 59 points. That's the way I look at it.
True.
Hey, Austin, a couple things. Austin, I'm 100% agree with you. When I think of fifth rounders, when I think the Dolphins got somebody like Zach Thomas.
Yeah, there you go.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
Fifth round pick. There are a lot of them over the years. Tom Brady is sixth rounder. It goes on and on.
Well, maybe Joshua Dobbs is the next Tom Brady.
Well, if you're down to your third quarterback anyhow, your chances are pretty slim anyhow, Brent.
Yeah, one thing about it, and that's what Austin said, Dobbs was a fourth-round pick initially in 2017. So, I mean, he was viewed as in a decent way coming. I mean, we've seen Dak Prescott's fourth-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. I get what you're saying about giving up the draft pick, but at the same time, We're talking about the quarterback position. You can't invest enough in the quarterback position.
Right. And the Miles Jack situation, not the initial thing, but that he had to be restrained by the two coaches. I would sit him down. You're not playing next week. You look at guys, look at Doug Marrone, how the lack of discipline, Austin, the incident over in London, the stuff with Fournette throwing the punch and then sitting by himself with TJ Yeldon, isolated from the other players, laughing and yucking it up, acting like he wasn't engaged at all with the team. And now this happens with Miles Jack. And you know, Doug Marrone's initial reaction is, well, I don't know what happened on the field originally that caused it. It's not the original thing. It's that he had to be restrained and everything else. It's on top of, Austin, everything else. The lack of discipline, the penalties, everything else. Why is Doug Marrone being attacked more by the media? He's doing a terrible job of discipline with the team, and that has a lot to do with the players being out of position on plays. They should have started, like I said, the safeties were inexperienced. They should have played more in the preseason, get them some snaps, get them ready. They're young and talented, but they're still inexperienced. Doug Marrone, I think, has done a terrible job with that football team. Just an awful job.
All right, South Beach Gary, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. Interesting thought, and we'll go to break. You know me, we've had this discussion. This was an off-season discussion. I think when people go to two things, probably more than two things, but they go to two things right away. And I heard this a bunch yesterday, and I didn't hear it as much today, but I heard a bunch yesterday. Fire coaches because of schemes and everything else, and discipline. There's two things to think about. This is a grown man sport. It is a brutal sport. It's a violent sport. So discipline, there's a fine line. Secondly, I think it's the most over talked about thing in football, in locker rooms, by fans. Yes, there is accountability. There's a certain, you can't do what Miles Jack did. I get it. But I've been here now through Gus Bradley where everybody said discipline. He doesn't do it. There's no accountability. He doesn't fine anybody. He doesn't do this. He's a player's coach. Well, then when Tom Coughlin and Doug Marrone got here, the sheriff's back in town. And this is the way we run things. Bill Belichick style. This is Saban kind of guys. The last 2 years, there's been no discipline. Yeah, it might have been in 2017, but there hasn't been. So it's football. I don't put it all on the coaches in that respect. Yes, there's an element of it if you want to get inside the building. And we said it yesterday. Marrone's all in this year on the players. He's almost turned himself into a player's coach this year. Yeah. I don't know if people would view him that way last year or the year prior or in his coaching career. But this year, he's turned himself into a player's coach.
Yes.
And people will associate that with a lack of discipline. I think it's so overplayed, that part of it. Yes, you need it, but it's not a direct correlation. And sometimes it's not even a direct correlation, not only to the coach, but to winning and losing.
Let's talk about another player's coach, Brent. Let's talk about Andy Reid real quick. All right, one would say Andy Reid's a pretty good coach, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I think the Chiefs had a pretty good season last year.
Very good.
Well, what happened against the Jaguars last year when Kansas City played them? Chris Jones and Dee Ford got thrown out of the game.
Travis Kelce did 2 years ago.
Chris Jones threw a punch, and I think Dee Ford got kicked out for taunting, if I'm not mistaken. So two guys right there on your defense. I don't know if Chris Jones was the captain at the time. He should have been. But two leaders on your team get thrown out of the game. What does Andy Reid do? Is everybody saying, oh, Andy Reid, get rid of him now? Like, you've lost that locker room. Well, that locker room went to the AFC Championship game and was this close to being the New England Patriots to go to the Super Bowl. So that's just one example. Then you got like Anthony Miller, Josh Bellamy, Chicago Bears last year, get thrown out for fighting as well. The Bears had a pretty good run. Bears went to the playoffs. Now, granted, thanks to the quote-unquote double doinker cost them the playoffs, against the Eagles, but they still had a pretty good season. And no one was saying, oh, Nagy's lost that team. Nagy's got to get fired. Not the case at all.
No. And listen, it's again, to me, there's no direct correlation. If you go back and look at penalties with teams that go to the postseason, do well in the postseason, sometimes the team that leads the league in penalties wins the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs last year led the league in penalties.
Seattle did it for those years. Now, what are you going to tell me that overcoming talent,
let's be honest. It's having Patrick Mahomes, right?
and listen, the Patriots, are they well-disciplined? Do they go a game, sometimes weeks without a penalty or two or three? Yes, they do. They're well-disciplined. I can't disagree with you. Does it benefit them? Yes. It would be nice to be that disciplined. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But it's not a direct correlation all the time, is my point, to the head coach and how he's doing things, and also whether you're going to win and lose. It's just not. It's an easy out for everybody. Sometimes it is.
But and to be fair, though, to get back to South Beach Gary's point, you know, the whole Doug Marrone press conference where he's like, well, I'm not sure what was said in there and things like that.
He's protecting his player.
And I get you protecting your player, but I think that's where you got to step up a little bit and show the standard of, listen, that's unacceptable behavior from our captain. We have to get better going forward.
Yeah, I guess. It's game
I would
one,
have liked to hear that. I would have liked to hear that. Moreover, well, I don't really know what happened out there. It doesn't really matter what happened out there, right? It doesn't really matter what was said. Your captain got thrown off the field.
I think there are times when you're going to lambaste your players and your team in front of the media.
Yeah.
Did he kind of call out Cam Robinson halfway through camp? Some people interpreted that he did.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
There are times to do it and there are times to not. One game into the season when the sky is falling on the outside and you're trying to keep everything on the straight and narrow on the inside because you got 15 more games to go, might not be that time. That's a Doug Marrone calculation. We can criticize him if it was the right move or not.
Yeah.
But I think that was his calculation in that moment. And he had never seen that before. If it was Fournette again or if it was Ramsey or somebody else, there was not a behavior like that out of Miles Jack that we could go back and say, hey, coach, what about the last time he did this? What about 2 years ago he did this? This is not a behavior we've seen from Miles Jack.
I understand that, but speaking of calculations, it's also a calculation by Doug Marrone to make Miles Jack the captain in the first place.
True.
So if you make him the captain and your captain gets thrown out of the game, you got to step up and say, listen, you know, what happened was unacceptable. We can't have our captains getting thrown out and just move on from there.
Yeah.
You don't have to call anybody out because I think you're saying what Miles Jack expects you to say. But the fact you go, I don't know what happened and everything, I don't know.
But you know this because you've been inside buildings. And my guess is what is said in front of that microphone after a game on a podium and what might be said in that team meeting to rip Miles Jack's
True.
in that meeting is probably a little different.
It's a good point. Yeah, I haven't been there.
You have.
Thankfully, I've never got ripped out by a coach, really, so it's hard for me to relate to that. But yeah, I think like what the coach perceives to the media is 110% different than what he perceives in the locker room and how he acts to his player for getting thrown out of the game.
The message might be a little different.
I'm sure Miles Jack got a little different message than what Doug Marrone was displaying for the press conference.
And by the way, that doesn't mean you can't be critical of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right move. We'll find out if those things are the right move.
Yeah.
You can certainly criticize anything at this juncture, especially when you're 0-1, you gave up 40 points, and you had an ugly performance out on the field. When we come back, we're going to get back to the Jags. We've got some college football at 4 o'clock with Jason Fitz. I want to talk a little bit about the rest of the NFL this week, especially now with the Oakland win and that great game in New Orleans yesterday. Let's do it next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690, Sports Center Update. I'm Jake Mitchell.
It's way early in this season, but the new NFL Power Rankings are out, and the Jags have dropped 9 spots to 26 after their loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in the home opener. Jalen Ramsey is stepping up like a team leader and shouldering a lot of blame for the loss.
Honestly, this is on the defense. I say that I think everybody agrees. I'm not overstepping my boundaries by saying that this game is definitely on the defense. I take pride in a lot of it. Didn't play up to my standards. Secondary in a whole. We kind of already talked about it, and we just truly shocked. Like, we didn't expect to come out here and put this performance in week 1, but we're gonna get right, though.
Odell Beckham says he'll continue to wear his expensive watch during games because it's, quote, just him. He was targeted 11 times and only made 7 catches this Sunday. Maybe he should watch that. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
At Planet Fitness, you don't have to flip a coin between quality and price. Join now for 25 cents down and $10 a month with no commitment and get a great workout at a great value.
Flash sale September 9th and 10th only. Hurry, join now.
See Club for details.
It's time to chub it up with my favorite wings in the Jacksonville area. Hey, everyone, this is Brent Martineau. You want the best wings in town? Mr. Chubby's Wings is the place to go. 2 locations, one on the west side and one in Fleming Island. I've been to both. Then I called the owner up and said, hey, I like the wings so much, I want to endorse them. It's a true story. And here we are. Bring the family on Mondays to the Fleming Island location for 50-cent wings. Tuesdays at the West Side location, it's all-you-can-eat wings. Try the Maple Cajun or the Johnny-style wings. Chub it up at Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow growth for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
What's the fastest way to get behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota? Toyota Rent-A-Car from my friends over at Arlington Toyota. The 2020 models are now arriving at Arlington Toyota, and Toyota Rent-A-Car is the best way to try it before you buy it. Got a road trip coming up, a long weekend with the girls, or a football getaway maybe? Toyota Rent-A-Car at Arlington Toyota's got you covered with an amazing selection of 2020 Toyotas that are road and rental ready. Everything about renting a Toyota from Arlington Toyota is easy. They've got amazing 2020 models, simple online reservations, and staff that's always eager to help. Gotta tell you, the hardest part's gonna be when it's time to turn your rental back in. These 2020s are sweet. Toyota Rent-A-Car from Arlington Toyota is ready to put you behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota for your next adventure. Just visit arlingtontoyota.com. That's arlingtontoyota.com and get your online reservation started today.
At Planet Fitness, you don't have to flip a coin between quality and price. Join now for 25 cents down and $10 a month with no commitment and get a great workout at a great value.
Flash sale September 9th and 10th only. Hurry, join now.
See Club for details.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. It was a lot of fun playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 3 years, and I'm having just the same amount of fun on the radio every single day with ESPN 690. So I'm reaching out to you to be part of our team and grow your business with ESPN 690. Give us a holler at 245-8732. That's 245-8732. We look forward to hearing from you and hope you join the team.
Game of Thrones, the live concert experience, is coming to Jacksonville at Daly's Place on September 20th, and ESPN 690 has your chance to win tickets to the show. So head on over to the contest page at ESPN690.com to enter for your last chance to win a pair of tickets to the Game of Thrones live concert experience.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
We had talked, what is it now, 3 years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, in an off-season out at Nick's house in California about the opportunity of playing with each other again, and that we would do whatever it took in that instance to make it happen. And I saw Nick sign with the Jaguars, and I texted my agent. I said, man, how crazy would it be if I ended up in Jacksonville playing with Nick? About 5 minutes later, I got a call on my phone, and it was Nick saying, hey, man, what do you think about coming to Jacksonville? The rest is history, and I'm here.
I really like this guy, Chris Conley, man. He was good on TV last night, too.
Man.
We had him on Jags Report Live.
He's got like a play-by-play kind of voice, too, man. Like, he's got everything going on. Good for him.
Yeah, he was good. We had him out at Top Golf, and just to remind, we had a lot of fun. By the way, come on out to Top Golf, 7 o'clock on Mondays. And, of course, Thursdays, we have Jaguars All Access, talking Jags a lot. That one's at Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. We always have a lot of fun there, too. But the new show is Monday night, 7 o'clock every Monday. Chris Conley will join us for a lot of the shows, but hopefully have some other Jags players on as well. I think we got a chance here to make this one a fun one. That's a great setting at Top Golf, and it was a lot of fun. We had some fun. So come on out. Again, we're running some specials, too, along with Top Golf, and I'll tell you all about them as we get closer to next Monday. But that was Chris Conley on our show last night on CBS 47, Jags Report Live, newest show in town, newest show that we're doing on the TV side. And I do want to mention, as part of that, our relationship with Chris, we are going to have him on the radio side from time to time, too, coming up during the season. So, I hope he continues to play well. It's a great opportunity for Chris Conley in his career. And now he thought it would be with Foles. But I thought it was an interesting story because I've heard stuff secondhand about Foles, how much he wanted to play with Conley again as well. And basically, almost to the point of, hey, let's go get this guy. Yeah. And he was available, and you heard the Conley side of it, that these guys stayed close and wanted to play again at some point, and this is how it worked out. So I thought it was a pretty fascinating story of how Foles and Conley get reconnected again. Now, for the next couple of months, it'll just be the Conley show, and hopefully Foles comes back healthy in the middle of November. We'll talk more Jags in a bit. Brent Mortno, Austin Lane, Kuz as well. Let's talk around the NFL. But we might have got the best game of the year in the first game of that doubleheader. I mean, what a finish that was.
Yeah.
I always let me kill myself for a second. Okay.
Okay.
Not really kill myself.
No, I hear you, but yeah, that's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, that was pretty aggressive. That didn't come out very well.
You're good.
But I think people should pump. My thought has been people should pump the brakes on Deshaun Watson. And listen, I think he's a good quarterback. So hear me out. I think he's good. I think people talk about him like he's Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, much like they did with Cam Newton for a while when Cam Newton had that great year. Okay. And Cam Newton got all this love, and Cam Newton was the next best thing, and kind of what we're seeing out of Lamar Jackson after week one.
Oh, we'll get to that later, Brent.
But I'm just saying, I'm like, okay, he's good. But I don't know if he's great. Yeah, he got sacked 60 times. Okay, well, you know what? There's a lot of quarterbacks that get hit. He also takes a lot of hits. There are a lot of Peyton Manning played with a terrible line for years and years and didn't take that many hits. You got to learn not to take hits. I mean, heck, he ran the ball in and got hurt again yesterday. He got hurt on a couple of plays.
Scary play, yeah. When he went for the touchdown and landed on his back. Not good.
So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game and I said, see, Ty? I mean, look at those numbers. Everybody's raving about him. They're raving about him in the game. And I'm like, he's got 193 yards with the best receiver in the game. And he had been okay. He's been sacked 6 times. I understand their offensive line is suspect. And then they just kill my argument.
Oh, yeah.
Because in 2 plays, he comes back. And see, that's the thing about him. I think that's where you have to give him the nod. Last year, he led the NFL, I believe, with 5 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter. Or at least he was right up there.
Yeah, right there, yeah.
Well, then he does it again. So there's a little bit of magic about him, right? There's in the moment about him. And that's what they've always said. Again, I'm not trying to knock Watson because I think he's a cool guy. I mean, really, if you read all the stories about Watson, they're unbelievable. Where he came from, what kind of leader he was at Clemson. So this is not me trying to knock him. I just think people really overrate him at times. Well, he proved me wrong again last night. I mean, for making that argument. I would, if he didn't have those last 2 plays and bring them back, I probably would have come in here and said, you guys have got to stop on the Watson front. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not a great player. And that has nothing to do. It's not relative to should they have picked him over Fournette or anything like that. I'm just saying in general. I mean, they were raving about him before he made those 2 plays on the broadcast. And I'm like, geez, you have to realize he has a terrible offensive line, but he also might have the best receiver in the game that can really bail you out. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins can really bail you out. He's an incredible player.
No, he is.
At the receiver position. But I will say to myself, pump the brakes, because that was a little bit of magic.
Yeah.
And he did it, and he delivered 2 beautiful throws. And I don't think it got talked about enough last night. That throw on the touchdown, he got whacked on that throw, man. Yeah. He stood in there right on the perfect amount of time, and he delivered a beauty. So hats off to Watson. Jags got to play him next week. The one thing you have going against when you play Watson is you might be able to sack him 8 to 10 times. I mean, their offensive line is brutal.
It is brutal, yeah. So the Saints had 6 sacks last night. I'll say this about Watson. So I think there's kind of 2 schools again, Brent, and listen, the commentators hyping him up last night. Like, yeah, I thought maybe that was a little overblown, but we have to remember what the landscape of the NFL looks like now. And it's a fantasy driven league. And when Cam was supposed to be like the next best thing since sliced bread, it was a fantasy driven league then too. So I think the fact that you have a guy who's a true dual threat quarterback, right? Who can throw the ball to Hopkins, or who can run the ball at any time, maybe for 100 yards a game. I think that's what makes him so intriguing. And I think a lot of the chirping and the hype comes from the fact that when you're talking about fantasy football, that's good for you. Just like Cam Newton was, with the dual threat quarterback.
Big play waiting to happen.
Yeah, exactly. But he seems to have more hype than Tom Brady does, right? Like it's like Watson's like the next big thing. Well, Tom Brady's still a pretty good quarterback too, but I don't hear people like hyping him up still.
That's a good point. Maybe we've just used all the superlatives.
Yeah, exactly. so I just think it's more like the fantasy kind of driven league. And getting back to playing the Jaguars now. Yeah, the offensive line is definitely suspect. It's definitely probably the weakest part, I would say, of their team right now. And if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, your defensive line watching last night, you got to feast. And listen, after the Jaguars game against the Chiefs, I kind of said, listen, the Texans can do a lot of things that the Chiefs can do, and the fact that, that they can run these quick routes and everything like that and get the ball out of Watson's hands very quickly. Well, We didn't see that last night. You know, he was holding the ball a little bit. He was kind of running for his life after a couple plays. So I don't want to go back on my words now, but I guess just when you analyze the Texans offense compared to the Chiefs offense, while I do think they have close to the same amount of talent at the wide receiver position, it's just a differently run offense. But I will say this, though. If you're going to rush Watson and if you're going to expose the offensive line, you have to do it smart, you know. And this is going to be the game where the defensive line is going to be showcased, obviously. And when you rush the passer, you have to be careful that you don't get out of your pass rush lanes, right? Like you have to be. We talk about communication against the Kansas City Chiefs, killing the Jaguars secondary. Communication is going to be what wins the Jaguars this game, or at least
keeps them in it. Yeah.
Keeps them in it on the defensive line.
Yeah. Oh, listen, they have not had a lot of success against quarterbacks that can run, too. That's been an Achilles heel for this defense. I mean, if you think about two things that have bothered this defense, it's tight ends and it's running quarterbacks. And so you have to be aware of that. I think Watson needs to be more aware of it, quite frankly. He should not be running the football as much as he does. He's already taken a lot of hits. And if he continues to play like this, he's not making it through the season. He just won't. I mean, week one, he's already beat up. I mean, and he's going to get beat up anyway because their offensive line is not good. They are going to give up 6 sacks quite a bit this year.
Yeah.
Just the way it is.
And were you surprised Carlos Hyde last night?
Carlos Hyde, yeah. I mean,
looked pretty. I mean, let's see. 10 carries, 83 yards, 8.3 average. Yeah, not bad.
It was impressive.
Not bad.
Carlos Hyde skipped Jaguars All Access, still the only one to ever do it.
Oh, that's right.
And so
Sorry for bringing up a sore topic.
I would have made it inactive if he was on my fantasy team.
So is this why you're not going to go to Houston this weekend? Is it because of the whole Carlos Hyde thing?
No,
you don't want to see him?
Don't care about Carlos Hyde that much.
I know, I'm just kidding,
man. I saw somebody, I think it was Rappaport maybe, and he said, "Oh, what a game that is. 2 heavyweights, a game like you could see deep into the playoffs." I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I don't feel that, man. Am I missing something with Houston? That was your typical first game. The Saints, I think the Saints are going to be good. I don't know. It's the NFL. I don't, other than the Patriots, they're going to be there. Is there another team that is going to be there? I don't know the Saints are going to be there. I don't know. I'm not convinced of that.
Yeah.
So that was a week 1 game. I never saw anything that said, oh, that was a battle of heavyweights. Houston, to me, does not strike heavyweight to me. Houston has a lot of problems. Their offensive line is terrible. J.J. Watt might be old. Yeah. He might be.
I mean, granted, it was one game, Grant, but I think this was the first game in, I want to say 106 games I read where he didn't register, a stat in the, and in the box or whatever.
Yeah. You just don't know. And by the way, you could say that. I'm not just saying that about
game
Watt.
planning around J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Whitney Merciless had a pretty good game.
Merciless is an underrated player, too.
That goes to show you that I'm sure they were planning for J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
So who's to say they weren't double teaming him every single play? I get that.
And to be fair, we said it about Calais Campbell that you don't know when it's going to happen. When do you become old? And it happens in sports fast. That's reality. It's not a knock against the guy. When you go through what Watt's gone through and the back problems and other problems, well, you can get old really fast. So I think it's worth, I'm not saying he is, but I think it's worth wondering when that happens with Watt.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't look at that game. I don't look at Houston as a heavyweight team. I really don't. Houston does not, they don't scare me. If I'm the Jags, and now listen, everybody should scare you if you're the Jags now, because you don't know what to get with your defense and you don't know what to get with your quarterback. You don't know what's going on there. So I understand it. But I'm telling you, if you asked me this question last week, I'm not afraid of Houston. Yeah. They don't feel like heavyweight Houston. I feel like they're going to be a 9-7 football team. They might get to 10-6. They could be 7-9 or 8-8.
Yeah.
Or am I missing something? It's okay if I'm missing something. I just don't feel it.
See, and once again, it's only week 1, Brent. So we got to take this with a grain of salt because I can sit here and say, well, the Jaguars defense, look how they did. I mean, you should
listen, the Jags might stink. I don't know.
But, and listen, I understand that Houston's got an explosive offense. They have really good receivers, but I feel like it's kind of the same thing with the Jaguars. Their calling card's always been their defense. It's always been their ability to stop the run and get after the quarterback with J.J. Watt and Clowney. Well, Clowney's gone now, and Merciless is, like you said, a very underrated player. But I'll be honest, man, I saw a Texans team last night that I wasn't accustomed to seeing on defense, at least. You know, like, I mean, you're used to seeing Brian Cushing in the middle, you know, making all these plays and jaw jab. You know, you're used to seeing this kind of swag. And for whatever reason, I didn't really see that from Texans last night. Not to say they can't get it back, but even when I was watching J.J. Watt go against, you know, Ryan Ramczyk, who, by the way, grew about 20 minutes away from me. Shout out to Ryan Ramczyk. You know, Ryan Ramczyk shut him down, you know. So it's just... it wasn't what I was used to seeing. I'm not sure if that's the Clowney effect or what it is, but I think a team's calling card, like the Jaguars or the defense, both defenses kind of underperformed.
It certainly does feel like it's week one. You know, it's week one. It's overreaction.
Yeah.
Week one. Hey, when we come back, Jason Fitz from ESPN joins us. We'll talk a little college football and the rest of the world in sports next on ESPN 690.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Cleveland has had to deal with a lot of Odell talking about his ex. Like, everyone's had that relationship where the person you're dating can't stop talking about all the stuff they don't like about their ex. But meanwhile, they're still always talking about them. Like, Odell has been a Cleveland Brown for a while, and we've heard him say, moving on, you keep hearing this guy talking about his ex, and it probably being hard to hear for Cleveland. Like, yeah, they sent me here to die. It's like, well, we had already won some of these games at that point. Like, it wasn't going to be that bad.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin of Action Sports Jax. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 105-7788.
School's back in session, which means your ride better be ready. At AutoZone, we've got the free services you need to drive with confidence. Like our free AutoZone Fix Finder service. If your check engine light is on, our Fix Finder service will help troubleshoot the likely issue. It could be something serious or maybe something simple. So knowing the likely issue can save you a lot of time and money down the road. And if you need help from a repair shop, we know some of the best. To learn more, visit us online at AutoZone.com. Restrictions and details apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
There's a new NFL show in town, people. It's called NFL The Grind. It's every Wednesday night. It's on Epix. NFL Films produces it. My name is Rich Eisen. I host it. Highlights, features, every single week. What more could you want? The spiraling football from NFL Films? You got it. My commentary, the last word on every single week in the NFL before Thursday Night Football? You got it. NFL The Grind, only on Epix. If you don't have it, get the channel or the app. Series premiere Wednesday. Be there. I will be.
The first annual Taste of the Town is this Saturday from 4 to 7 on Big Island Drive near Moxie Kitchen in the Town Center, and will feature 25 restaurants and eateries around the Town Center, plus numerous raffle prizes, gift baskets, gift cards, and concert tickets. It costs just $25 in advance and $35 at the gate, with proceeds benefiting Angelwood, a local nonprofit organization that's been serving children, adults, and families living with disabilities in our community since 1993. For more information on Taste of the Town or to purchase tickets, visit angelwoodjax.org. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. The Eagles are expected to be without one of their top pass rushers the rest of the season. Defensive tackle Malik Jackson, expected to be placed on injured reserve with a significant knee injury, will have surgery next week and likely will miss the rest of the year. The Texans' offensive line concerned as a troubling trend continued in the loss to the Saints. Quarterback Deshaun Watson sacked 6 times. Last season, he was sacked an NFL-high 62 times. Coach Bill O'Brien and the O-line vowing to fix their mistakes and shore things up. And there are a few ways to accomplish that, explains ESPN's Ryan Clark.
You have to use more chips, give him more opportunities with getting him outside of the pocket, and also design plays where he gets the ball out of his hands early and coach him to do so. Deshaun Watson is the ultimate playmaker. He uses his legs to improvise and make plays down the field, and he is a fearless player.
In his typical forthcoming fashion, Patriots coach Bill Belichick said they will take it day by day and see how it goes before deciding whether new receiver Antonio Brown will be active for Sunday's game against the Dolphins.
Why pay twice as much for your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of data from Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30. Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, we got breaking news. You didn't tell me about this.
What's up?
You got a fight.
Oh,
You got a fight lined up.
Well, there's not a contract signed yet. I don't have an opponent, but
you shared it on social media. That means you got a fight.
because I'm on the poster. So yeah.
Okay. Tell us more about the fight.
Well, it's going to be. I feel like we talked about it before, haven't we? It's going to be in Jacksonville, Morocco Shrine.
Must have been your other co-host.
Maybe.
Now I know how your
November
wife
9th.
feels.
Oh, the shots are just coming in. See? Cruz, reaction videos. Let's do a reaction video today about how mad Brent made me during this show today. Let's do it.
Can I do a reaction video to your fight? Like afterwards, I'll sit at the Morocco Shrine and talk about it?
Absolutely. And then I'll do a reaction video to that reaction video that you shot because people love the reaction videos.
Apparently, you better hope so with all the reaction videos you're about to do.
So, November 9th, Morocco Shrine, yeah. I don't have an opponent yet, but that's going to be the next fight coming up.
All right, good deal. Let's get training. Stop eating the potato chips.
Hey, man, way ahead of you. Do I look a little drained and flushed today? Because I feel like it.
But you still lost all that sleep because they traded a 5th-round pick for Joshua
I'm not
Dobbs.
sleeping because, Joshua Dobbs, man, somebody bring out the CBD oil because I need it stat because I can't sleep because Joshua Dobbs. Never thought I'd see the day.
All right, let's settle this thing down with Jason Fitz from ESPN, hosts First and Last from 5 to 6 a.m. You can hear him on Go Look and Wingo on ESPN 690 every morning. And Countdown to Game Day, Saturday mornings with David Pollack and Maria Taylor on ESPN app, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. What's up, Jason? How you doing, man?
I'm not going to fight anybody. I don't care what you guys say. I'm not going to do it. I'm a little guy. I won't fare well. And then remember, all you can say at the end of the day is that you beat up a fiddle player. So, there's no secret in that either. So, I appreciate it. My only role in this is like I really feel like I missed my calling in life. I grew up a fan of wrestling in the 80s. Like I really should have been like the next Jimmy Mouth of the South Hard. Like that could have been my calling. That's the only as closest I can come to combat right there is talking trash for somebody else.
I hear you. If you had to pick a guy, I would pick Kuz first, who's our producer, then probably come over to me, and then just leave Austin alone. Just start running when Austin, if you're going to have to fight somebody. Hey, man, what a wild week in college football. Let's go there first because I know you guys are talking all about it on game day and this Countdown to Game Day Saturday morning show, which is off to a great start. Congratulations on that. But, man, Michigan, what do we take away? Florida State, we'll talk about the locals in a moment. I want to talk about two of the big games, and then you can take us wherever you want to go. Clemson, Texas A&M. What did it show us about those two programs? That game 24-10, and then LSU, Texas, obviously, I think showed us a lot about LSU.
Well, I think when you start with Clemson, it's a reminder that Clemson is squarely the most talented team in the country. And I keep saying it, we need to stop having the conversation about Clemson and the talent gap between Clemson and Alabama and realize that Alabama is closer to Georgia in talent than they are to Clemson at this point. Clemson is able to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it. I think Texas A&M is still building, and we have to remember that it's going to take Jimbo a little more time than we wanted to, in essence, for Texas A&M to become as good as they can be. But there's just such a gap between where Clemson is right now and where everybody else is. They're firing on all cylinders, and now we can finally stop the Trevor Lawrence is going to plateau and he's not all that good conversation. We could stop all of that overreaction. Now, in the other game, honestly, guys, it played out exactly like I thought it would, and I said it on Countdown to Game Day at the time that, you know, we were in Austin, and when I stood on the field before the game to do some work for our college football shows, it was 125 degrees on the field. And what I said at the time was, look, as good as Texas has been and as good as Texas wants to be, they don't have the depth. So what I expected to happen is exactly what happened. We keep talking about the number of points in the fourth quarter. Well, what did you expect? I mean, when it is that hot and you're having to rotate players that much and you're trying to run pace in your offense, and for Texas particularly, you're thin at the running back position. I don't know how they expected they were going to be able to slow it down the way they would need to control the LSU offense. So LSU sort of did what I thought they would do in scoring so many points. It's pretty to see Joe Burrow, and it's pretty to see them throwing the ball. It's something that we've been anxious for, so we want to be really hyped about it. But, you know, I need to see it against a team that's not playing in 120-degree weather before I can really figure out what it means long-term for them.
I think that's fair, too. But I do think if I was in Baton Rouge, I'm like, my goodness, we've been waiting for this forever. Gosh, 500 yards of passing and a quarterback that looks like he knows what he's doing. I think there's reason to be excited about that. And to that point, we talk about the gaps in college football. Do you think at least we can entertain the conversation that Alabama might have to run into somebody finally in the SEC West that could give them a run? Everybody always wants to peg someone, right? They want to say when Ole Miss had all that talent, oh, maybe they'll give them a run. Texas A&M, Jimbo's there. Maybe they can give them a run. LSU, because they're LSU, maybe they can give them a run, even though they really haven't had an offense and quarterback, and it just had a talented roster. But now I feel like you might say, hey, wait a minute. Joe Burrow showed up in a big game, in a big-time spot, and maybe they do have some firepower on offense. You know they have talent all over the roster. Is the gap closing in the SEC West?
It is this year, I think, because there's so much youth on defense for Alabama. This isn't Nick Saban's usual defense. And when he was up at Bristol this summer, he talked about that there is specifically at the linebacker position before they went through all the injuries. He mentioned that they were so thin and so inexperienced there that was the position he was least comfortable with. Now they go through with significant injuries as they start the season. I am curious if LSU is going to be able to essentially spread out and tempo Alabama out of their own game. And they do have the ability to do that. And this is sort of a moment, tip of the cap here to Ed Orgeron, who now has done the one thing that Les Miles was never willing to do in the sense that he's adapted. You know, they bring in Joe Brady as the offensive, as the passing coordinator, I should say. And we were curious what that would look like, Joe Brady having worked with the Saints. And now we see it. And what's really stood out to me talking to people around the LSU program is this is sort of what Joe Burrow thought he was going to be running in the first place. Like he thought that they were going to be opened up already. So part of why we have such a low expectation on Burrow is he's been running an offense that I don't really think fits his skill set. Now we finally have what I want from any coach, which is look at the kids you have, find their strengths, and coach to their strengths, and that's what they're doing at LSU. So a good quarterback looks like a great quarterback because he's being asked to run something he's comfortable with.
Jason, you know, it's only week 2 now, going into week 3 of the college football season. I know overreactions are aplenty right now, but I want to get your take on this. What's been more of a big surprise to you so far 2 weeks in the college football season? The Florida State defense, a defense that allows 36 points to Boise State, gives up 600 yards of offense, and then they come back out at their home field to Louisiana Monroe, which I can't point to on a map, and Louisiana Monroe drops 44 points on them. Is that more surprising, or is it the Maryland offense that I saw you tweet about a little bit? They dropped 79 points against Howard. Not really sure where Howard's at. Everyone thought it was just kind of a lucky kind of game. They're going to slow down against an ACC opponent that was ranked in Syracuse. Maryland says, very cool. Check this out. Chew on this 63 burger. And they dropped 63 points to Syracuse. So what's more surprising to you? Because I'll tell you what, man, that Maryland offense looks pretty legit right now.
Yeah, that's the more surprise. I think that's the biggest story of the college football season early on that we're not talking about, is that Maryland doing what they did to Clemson. And I do believe we're going to find out that Clemson's a good football team throughout the course of the year. It's just that Maryland is that well coached at this point, and they're putting up points in ways that we never would have expected. They are explosive from anywhere, anytime, so that stands out to me as the biggest surprise, because while we expected Loxley to have success there as the offensive sort of mastermind, I don't think any of us could have seen that coming. That being said, the biggest abomination, Tennessee right now, Tennessee and Florida State are really trying to go neck and neck for who can let down a passionate fan base the most, and it's stunning to see. And I just can't figure it out. I can't figure out why these two programs can't figure out a way to right the ship and at least play competent football against lesser opponents.
Speaking of overreactions, you got to talk about that Michigan Army game. My co-host Brent here, I think you have them in your playoff.
I do.
Michigan, and he
just
thinks,
bring up what Army and Oklahoma did. Don't forget.
Well, I'm just saying though. So Brent thinks it's going to be a good game for them. Looking back on things, it's kind of like their wake up call. And I'm gonna be honest, Jason, I see a Michigan team right now that with Shea Patterson as a senior quarterback is not even close to achieving the hype that was brought to him. And I see a Michigan offense that doesn't look comfortable running this new kind of spread. And I see a Michigan defense that knew Army was going to run the ball and still surrendered 200 yards to him. So why should I be optimistic right now on Michigan?
I don't think you should be. I think you're actually right. I think you're spot on everything you just said. Look, Michigan's thin on the defensive line. They're still trying to get guys worked in. They got a lot of youth there. They knew that there was going to be an issue. But do you look at this year? Let's take the name Jim Harbaugh off for a second and the work that he's done in the past, because it does give him benefit of the doubt. But take all that away, crumple it up, throw it away, and just watch this Michigan team this year and tell me how they look well coached, because they don't to me. And Shea Patterson doesn't look like he has any control of the offense. He doesn't look like he has any surety of where he's trying to go with the ball. I'm alarmed to see somebody that has the talent level that he has just sort of floundering. We've been making excuses for Michigan for the last several years, but I can't look at right now. Look at the Big Ten across the board. Michigan State hasn't looked particularly good. Wisconsin still doesn't have a quarterback. Penn State struggled for a little bit against a Buffalo team that just was outmatched. And I'm looking at it saying, okay, there's Ohio State, and then there's everybody else. And Michigan is more towards the everybody else conversation than they are to Ohio State for me at this point.
Well, listen, just because you don't want to get in a cage with them doesn't mean you have to agree with them.
That is smart business, though, guys. When you're 5'9" and 165 pounds, you agree with them. That's what you do.
Hey, I'll say this comment about Michigan. You have to wonder, and this crossed my mind, is Harbaugh so old school in a way? And I know they're trying the new up, but it's just mentality so old school that even this, he's so stubborn. We know he's stubborn.
Yeah.
That's a given. Is that just some of these guys aren't willing to adapt enough or really buy in, even though they might kind of show it as a charade. That's what I get a sense from. We're way down here. We're not close to that program and what's going on in Ann Arbor, but I think that runs through some of these guys. It's hard for some of them to completely change and adapt to the new age game sometimes. And Harbaugh feels, I don't know if it's the glasses, I don't know if it's the way they've played offense the last few years, but he almost feels old to me. And I'm a big Harbaugh fan. I like him, but he feels old to me at times watching his teams play.
Well, and that's the same conversation we were having a few years ago, whether it was right or wrong, about Nick Saban until he started to evolve his offense. And then it looked at it, and his offense was no longer a hindrance. And that's what we're waiting for from Harbaugh, because he is one of the best coaches in college football, and because Michigan is one of the best programs in college football. So there's no excuse to not be able to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish. They have the means there. They have the facilities there. They have the coach there. But you have to have a group of kids that's willing to fight for that coach, and you have to have a coach that gets the most out of that group of kids. And, again, if we just take the name off the chest of Jim Harbaugh and look at what's happening there, it's not good enough for Michigan football.
Jason, I want to talk about coach. I want to talk about a coach real quick that no one's really discussing, but I feel like we should have warned at least a little discussion about him and how much he's not really having a lot of success right now, and that's Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's the guy 7-8 years ago at the forefront of offensive schemes, had a great run with Oregon, comes to the Eagles, very first year I played against them, almost had a heart attack going against that offense, man. It looked like, he was going to turn the whole scheme of the NFL around. He kind of falters a little bit, goes to San Francisco, struggles there, goes back to UCLA, and now he's on a team where they scored 14 points in their first 2 games. Not really that Chip Kelly offense that we're used to seeing. What do you attribute to Chip Kelly struggling so much lately?
I think part of it is that because I think you're absolutely right. When you look at where Chip Kelly was and where he was as an offensive mastermind, he was ahead of everybody else, right?
Correct.
And at some point, the NFL did what the NFL always does. The NFL looked at it and said, okay, what parts of this do we want to take and adapt and make ours? And then what parts do we want to throw away? So what you have now, and then that trickles down to the college game. What you have now is coaches have analyzed it so much they've found some of the elements of pacing and some of the elements of spread, and they brought it to their own programs. So it doesn't look as foreign to everybody else as it did several years ago. So as the rest of college football adapts to more spread offense, to more pace offense, and as the rest of college football adapts to some of the elements that really made Chip Kelly unique, he's no longer as unique, and that makes defenses are better handled. They're better equipped to handle it today than they were years ago. So now you don't have that little edge, and without that little edge, it looks rough, and it's staggering to think that we're sitting here in a world. I mean, we mentioned Florida State and Tennessee already, but you can add UCLA to that conversation of programs that are teetering on the edge of irrelevance, and that's a strong statement for UCLA. It's not acceptable for UCLA football.
Jason Fitz with us from ESPN here on Golic and Wingo every morning on ESPN 690 and on Saturday mornings. Countdown to Game Day, new show with David Pollack and Maria Taylor on social media, the ESPN app, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. A couple quick thoughts, and then we'll let you go. I know you've been hanging on for a bit, but you guys are going. Game Day's in Ames, Iowa, I think, Iowa State, which is cool. I think it's the first time Game Day's been there. But as I look at the schedule, is the game of the week Stanford UCF?
I think it probably is, honestly. I was a little surprised. I know that you're right. We're going to Ames for the first time, but it's natural for all of us. We're constantly looking at the schedule, and genuinely, we don't know until Sunday where we're headed. But I was a little surprised that Ames won out in some ways because Stanford UCF has so much on the line, and obviously Stanford gets their butt kicked, and that's part of why that happens. And anytime you can go to Ames and be the first time for a great rivalry, that makes a lot of sense. But UCF is doing what UCF always does, which reminds us that they should be part of the conversation, and it's going to continue to challenge the mindset of college football and the College Football Playoff Committee until they figure out how to reward teams like UCF if they want to reward teams like UCF. And I've sat through the mock committee process. It doesn't feel like they care about mid-majors in the committee. It doesn't feel like they care about Group of Five in the committee. But, at some point, they're going to have to figure out how they want to reward programs that are consistently bringing success, because that's what UCF is doing. And if not this week, it's hard for me to see that UCF won't constantly be in the conversation before game day.
Yeah, and by the way, that wasn't really a knock on the decision to go to Ames. I think actually that's the right decision. UCF they've had game day like last year. Austin was there, by the way. That's not it. But I just think it's a big game for UCF too, to be able to beat Stanford and show again that they can beat a Power Five. This will be a big one every time you get that opportunity for the Knights. And I'm just waving the UCF flag a little bit.
You're right. But you're right about that. And last year we talked about it when we were doing the rankings reaction shows and looking at the committee. This Stanford game was supposed to be the flag that UCF could sort of fly to say, hey, stop with the we don't have the best opponent schedule. And UCF is in this impossible situation where I don't think a lot of schools want to face them. I mean, realistically, what's the benefit for most schools? So when you have Stanford on the schedule, it's supposed to be spectacular, and then Stanford goes out and lays an egg. So it's like, man, just give the program a break. Like, they let them face the best of Stanford and beat the best of Stanford so that we can stop having a conversation about whether or not they belong when squarely they do.
Jason Fitz from ESPN. He hosts First and Last, 5 to 6 a.m. on ESPN. Golic and Wingo. He appears regularly there on ESPN 690. You can catch that here in Jacksonville Monday through Friday in the morning. And Countdown to Game Day, Saturday mornings with David Pollack and Maria Taylor, getting you ready for that college football Saturday on the ESPN app, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
Thanks, boys. Have a great week.
All right. Jason Fitz from ESPN. Wanted to get in a little Antonio Brown. Maybe we'll see where it goes, and then we'll ask him more on the Antonio Brown stuff. But so much to get to on the college football front.
Give it 2 weeks, Antonio Brown. I'm sure we'll have some more stuff to talk about. So some new stuff on the news front.
Absolutely.
So,
and we will get into Antonio Brown a little bit because I was interested how Oakland handled it and Gruden handled it.
Yeah.
I think you heard maybe during the updates, Jack Del Rio commented he's so toxic that he doesn't even know if it will work out in New England. Fist bump for that one.
We haven't bet yet, man. Relax.
I bet the world on this.
Oh, you already made a bet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Really? You know what really?
Just his reputation, which is the most important thing.
You know what really ticks me off more than anything? Is I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but a lot of my friends on Facebook are from New England.
Okay.
And so I really hate all of them.
Yeah.
I really hate them. Most of them.
Yeah.
Just because 6 world championships.
Yeah.
They don't even get how
toxic,
good Brady
man,
is.
Get off Facebook.
And then they go and embrace a guy like Brown like he's this Oh, yeah, he's the best. We're great. I mean, it's great to have him.
Welcome to football, man.
It's arrogance.
Well, welcome to the NFL, Brent.
And the Patriots will not win.
I'll tell you right now, I bet Chip Kelly's going to run the wishbone next year.
An awesome event happened in Jacksonville earlier today. We'll tell you all about it coming up next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jags with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Pretty hot yet again today under mostly to partly sunny skies. Just an isolated brief shower and highs in the lower 90s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Going to work or just taking care of your home. Daily activities that should never put you in jeopardy. Roundup Weed Killer has been linked to many cases of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Our farmers, gardeners, florists, and maintenance workers have been exposed to this toxic chemical. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or are receiving chemotherapy as a result of Roundup exposure, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 1-800-565-4000. That's 1-800-565-4000 for a free consultation.
Homegrown and ready to help the home team look good on Friday nights and every night in any sport, Baker Sports has been doing just that since 1997. Your team experts offer the top brands like Under Armour and Adidas. Screen print, embroidery, and trophies all done in-house right here in Jacksonville. Baker Sports will get you ready for your big game. Looking good so you can play good. Play ball with your team experts at Baker Sports.
Hey everybody, Trey Wingo here from Golic and Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jacksonville. It's clear Northeast Florida has great taste in radio. I mean, you're listening to me every morning, right? Join the ESPN 690 team and get your business notice today. The First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get your business in front of them. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Codan is now Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Beard's Diamonds guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a GIA certified diamond in North Florida. Shop Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
The Sickle Cell Disease Association Northeast Florida chapter will be hosting their annual 5K walk Saturday, September 14th at 8 a.m. at the FSCJ downtown campus. Whether you're a group, organization, team, business, or individual, please come join us. That's September 14th at 8 a.m. at the FSCJ downtown campus. Get more information and register now at sicklecellnefl.org or visit eventbrite.com and search for Sickle Cell 2019 Walkathon.
Really thinking that he might go to the Clippers just because we weren't hearing anything about the Clippers, and real G's move in silence, and Kawhi Leonard isn't.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do real G's move in silence?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gunn. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Back to Action Sports Jax
on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Welcome back. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. That was Austin Lane pushing buttons. You know why? Because
what?
he just... Are you okay?
What do you mean, am I okay? Did you hear that crinkling
That
sound?
was you.
That was me,
That
seriously?
was kind of, we were trying to reenact what's happening in your head right now.
Oh, I got you.
Because you
Yeah.
just read bad news about your buddy
Oh,
Magoo.
okay, I got you. I thought like I was...
Because you know the T-shirt,
having a
unless you
brain
go do a
aneurysm.
radio show in Houston, now your T-shirt business is out of business.
I know. Whoa.
Swagoo is
I know.
now signed to the active roster with the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
That's why the Jags couldn't get him.
Maybe. Let's hope so.
Well, they protected him. They love him over
I know.
there.
Yeah, who was
Like
the Tex?
you.
Well, listen. I don't. Okay, whatever you say you want to say. I love the dude. Yeah, we have a lot of tattoos. We're cool looking dudes. Okay, we both have swag. Okay, like I get it, Brent. Like hold me to the coals if you want to. All right, but what intrigues me about Swigoo, like I like to call him, that's trademark by the way. You have to pay me. You say that. Yep.
You like it better than Muguval?
I mean, yeah, because
No, Swagoo is pretty cool.
I just came up with Swagoo. I mean, I like Swagoo because I came up with
That's
it.
fair,
You know,
that's
so
fair.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if I came up with yeah.
I would trademark
Magoo
that.
Swagoo?
Yeah. Trademark Swagoo. What if he's a hit, man? Let's do it.
I know. Okay. Well, we'll get on
I'll chip in. I think it's like $1.48.
We're going to go halfsies?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go halfsies.
Let's try to get Tom. Let's not get Tom terrific, okay?
Yeah.
That didn't work out for Brady.
Yeah.
And so that's not a good idea.
The reason why the guy is just intriguing with me, Brent, is because you can say I have a crush on Magoo, but now I'm messing up his name, Magoo. But I just have a crush on quarterbacks that have played baseball, I guess, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's the footwork. It's the ability to throw from different arm angles and, different angles when your shoulders are turned. I'm just intrigued by that. I think that's where the league is going to go. And like I said, in the next 5-6 years, you might have this new breed of quarterback that are former baseball players. And I don't want to see Magoo go to a different team where they could have had him, and all of a sudden now he's like the prime candidate.
Listen, man, we cover the Jags. We're in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
There's no doubt Swagoo is going to the Hall of Fame. They had him. They let him go.
He's definitely going in the Ring of Honor.
They tried to get him back. They couldn't get him back. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
That's the way it works out, right?
That's the way it works around here.
All of a sudden, Carlos Hyde's making fantasy owners really happy.
I got a complex.
Yeah.
That's because it's fact. It seems to be happening all the time.
Oh, this is interesting. Adrian McCarron is the backup in Houston.
Let's go get him.
Well, yeah.
So now they're going with 3 quarterbacks. You know why they're going with 3 quarterbacks?
Why is that?
Because Deshaun Watson won't stop running the damn football.
Well, he's also getting sacked 1,000 times.
By the way, that says he's hurting.
No, I agree with you.
It does.
Yeah. But also having Adrian McCarron
he was slow to get up twice yesterday. Now, one he got popped.
Yeah.
But the other one was his own doing, trying to get to the end zone, and he's got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
I think that's good news for Jags fans right now.
It probably is. And they don't feel bad, obviously, because we got our own issue here in Jacksonville with the quarterback situation.
So Tom Pelissaro, and this is a real tweet, this isn't a fake account, is reporting that the Jaguars were interested in bringing Magoo back after Nick Foles' injury, but instead Houston chose to promote him from the practice squad. So there you go.
Yeah. So, It's
win some, you lose some.
I've never seen this kind of activity on the practice squad. Magoo gets the bonus check from Houston to go there, and he gets paid an elevated amount. To be honest with you, I didn't even know you could do that until these last few weeks. And then Keelan Doss,
both of them,
comes over. He comes over to Jacksonville. Jags give him elevated money, and then the Raiders, with the whole Antonio Brown thing, say, "Hey, now we'll guarantee you this, and we'll put you on the roster." And now I'm coming back home to Oakland.
I was going to tweet out this long thing I ended up deleting because I want to see how it played out first. I didn't want to say something stupid and then have it come back and bite me in the butt.
Come on, that's what I was getting at. We do a show for 3 hours a day.
That's the definition of Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah. But listen, you want to talk about culture and teams and everything like that, Brennan, the leadership, whatever you want to call it. But you have a guy like Keelan Doss, who, he was featured on Hard Knocks. You kind of get a feel for the guy. He's a big California guy, grew up in California, went to UC Davis, all things considered, was excited to be an Oakland Raider. And at the time, seemed like he's going to make the team. He gets cut, goes to the Jaguars practice squad. Okay, whatever. So then Antonio Brown gets released, and they offer to bring him back as a part of the active roster. And he says no. He'd rather stay in Jacksonville. What does that say about the Oakland culture where if you don't, because you're giving up, number one, you're giving up your pension because it's not a guarantee that you make this 53-man roster in Jacksonville. Yeah. That's not guaranteed. So you sacrifice your pension, you sacrifice your credited season, you make the same amount of money because Jacksonville was paying him pretty top dollar at the practice squad, but you sacrifice all those things to stay on a practice squad as opposed to going back to Oakland. Now Oakland upped their ante, and kind of made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
It was a good negotiating point.
But what does it say about Oakland? And then I was going to relate that to, well, maybe Antonio Brown really is a genius and wanted out of there the whole time. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. But
Oakland's 1-0.
But you got to remember what that young man in his first 3 months in the NFL had to be around the Antonio Brown situation. And he's like, if this is what it's like out here.
Yeah.
Now, once they promise you playing time and they give you more money, then you're like, well, okay, I'll go see what it's like.
Well, at that point, wasn't Antonio already out of Oakland? So maybe that was part of it, too.
Yeah, and by that time. Yeah, by that time.
But I'm just saying, a place that you grew up in, you played college there, you go across the country to Jacksonville on the East Coast, completely different, and you opt to stay in the practice squad as opposed to going back to the active roster. I thought it was a little weird.
Hey, Tebow opted to go to New York instead of playing Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Not always. Maybe not everybody always wants to go home.
You're right.
I don't know.
I didn't want to play in Green Bay, so you're right, Brent. I didn't, man.
You didn't?
No, heck no. Are you kidding me?
How do you not? You grew up in Wisconsin, man. How do you not want to play for Green Bay?
Because I knew as soon as I got
drafted. It wasn't the Vikings.
Well, there you go. But no, I knew as soon as I got drafted and I'm going to training camp in Green Bay and my friends would be there with kegs in the parking lot and just acting a fool, like I'm just trying to make a team and you guys want to do beer bongs with me. No, it was just way too much distractions, way too much, family asking for tickets. Jacksonville was the perfect spot for me.
Very good spot. All right. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here. Let's welcome in, you've already heard him, John Bachman from Action News Jackson. Let's get serious for a moment because what a day out there at St. John's Town Center. Convoy of Care. We've been a part of these now for the last few years with all the hurricane drives and people needing supplies. This one for the Bahamas. We talked about it for the last week, and I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. That was
we had
incredible turnout.
6 full trucks, 100,000 pounds of stuff donated today in 7 or 8 hours, basically.
Yeah, 7 hours.
You and I were both out there, and it was backed up. I mean, we'll show you some Sky Action News Jax video tonight at 5 o'clock of the lineup of people. I mean, it was. When I showed up at about noon or whatever it was, I rolled in there. I couldn't get in. I had to go all the way around past behind Dick's there to get in because the line was all the way out to St. John's Parkway, Town Center Parkway, whatever that is. So, it was incredible turnout.
Nice job, Jacksonville.
Yeah, it was really remarkable.
And you do have to give. I don't want to lose sight. Great job for everybody that listened to it, looked it up, and they all had a lot of the right supplies for the most part. A lot of water, obviously, a lot of diapers, those kind of things that the folks in the Bahamas need. I'm talking 100,000 pounds, but I don't want to lose sight. Those folks in the trucks that load the trucks up.
Great. Yeah.
And not only that, but they have all the help. Like we go over and try to help and get stuff from the cars and bring them to. So you have a lot of people. There's like a little train of people going back and forth and throughout the day. And I did a little part. I mean, I was there for an hour maybe, but those guys now, when they have to unload the trucks, they don't have that caravan of people. And it's 100 degrees out, and it's a lot of stuff, and it's sometimes heavy stuff. They're
the water. Donating the trucks. They're donating their time. It is really. I mean, you gave a great shout out to them on Twitter, but I mean, they worked tirelessly as we rolled in and out. They were there the whole time, and it was hot. I mean, it was so hot out there on that pavement, right? And they just kept going and going. 6 truckloads. They had to go get more trucks. They just kept going, no problem. And then they're going to make the drive. I think they're bringing them down. I don't know exactly where they're going.
Yeah, they didn't know exactly.
They haven't
South
quite
Florida
figured out, but they're
right?
going to go down that way. Yeah, and they've offered up. There's another group that contacted Tanika Hughes to say, hey, we want to give some stuff. We're going to collect it. And they said, sure, if you can get it to us by whatever time, before they leave, we'll put it on yet another truck and we'll bring it down. So, I mean, they're just, it's really cool.
Garth Brooks has a song called People Helping People.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
I like it. Now, when we were with you yesterday, obviously you guys will have more from the Convoy of Care, but the St. Simon's Island, they had not rescued the fourth person.
They did that
in
about
that
6
ship.
o'clock yesterday. They've got all 4 of the crew members who were trapped in that engine room area in the hull of that ship. They've got them all out. They're all safe. They're all being checked out. We saw 2 of them walking on their own power. So we know 2 of them are okay. The other 2, they said were in good shape at the hospital. So I believe that all 4 of those crew members are going to be okay.
Have we learned more?
We have. Well, not much about them, but here's what we know.
About what happened, I mean.
Well, we don't know exactly what happened either, but here's what we know. The big thing now is you got this 650-foot ship on its side in a major port shipping channel, right? So you've got
to describe again. Did you say in that cargo ship, there are cars?
4,000 cars. It's a ship. It was a car
on
hauler.
Its side.
Car hauler.
Jeez.
So you've got a really busy port that has been closed since Sunday morning when this happened. And so today, the Coast Guard gave an update about 3:30 this afternoon. We had it live on Action News Jax. Basically, they said a couple things. Number one, this is going to be weeks or months long process to remove this ship.
Oh, wow.
They said that in the interim, they're working as hard as they can to try to open the port as fast as they can, but it's going to be limited traffic for the time being because they're going to have to bring in a bunch of equipment to try to remove this ship. So
I don't know how you would do that.
Well, they're not exactly sure how they're going to do it yet either, to be honest with you. So they have said an aggressive timeline that they want to have one-way traffic open at certain times of the day by as early as Thursday. Now, to me, that sounds like that's never going to happen, but they're working hard to make it happen. They need to make it happen as soon as they can because you got a bunch of port workers who are not going to work right now, and it's obviously slowing commerce because it's a very busy port. So there's a lot to uncover on that we're working on. But that's the big thing, is that they hope to have the port back up and running partly as early as Thursday. I suspect it could get pushed back.
Okay.
But that's where we're at. And then months to remove the ship. And then, of course, the big thing is the water. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
How bad is the pollution? They said that right now, no major release of fuel. The tanks are working as they should, but the thing is on its side. The tanks weren't designed to hold fuel while it's sitting on its side. So there is an issue there. They have to figure that out. The question I had was whether they're going to have to remove the fuel before they try to upright the ship. Are they going to upright the ship? They're going to take it in pieces. We don't know.
Yeah.
So it's a big, massive operation. But
crazy.
Real quick tease for our show, because this is pretty cool. We talked to one of the guys, one of the rescuers who was lowered down that 2x3 foot hole that they had to cut in the hull of the ship. And they went into the heat and darkness to help recover these 4 crew members. And we talked to one of those guys today. So
cool.
We have that sound coming for you on Action News Jax starting at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, 5 o'clock on CBS 47, 5 to 7 on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Of course, later tonight at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. We have some, we are like the epicenter for some bizarre things sometimes. It's not only hurricanes, it's, in the last year, they've pulled an airplane out of the St. Johns River.
I remember that.
And now a sideways cargo ship. I mean, it's just amazing how much this all happens
This one you
nearby.
can't blame on Florida, man. This was Georgia.
That's true. We'll make that part of our pregame special.
That's it. There you go. That's right.
All right, man. Have a good day.
Okay,
Thanks for
guys.
stopping by.
Thank you
Talking
so much
sports,
for having
talking
me.
news, CBS 47, Fox 30. Catch Action News Jax along with John Tanika and Mike Bursch. Of course, we'll have all the sports covered for you as well on the TV side, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Hey, when we get back, let's get back to Minshew. And
speaking of man crushes,
well, I think the city now has a crush on him.
That's a good point.
I don't think I'm alone.
No, you're not alone.
So what Chris Conley had to say about him last night on our show, which I thought was interesting, he told the story about one of the first times he saw him, that on the way, and also, seriously, how can he do? I mean, there's almost like this level of confidence in this guy, and he earned that because of his performance, but what's reality? Let's talk about it next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. It's way early in this season, but the new NFL Power Rankings are out, and the Jags have dropped 9 spots to 26 after their loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in the home opener. Jalen Ramsey is stepping up like a team leader and shouldering a lot of blame for the loss.
Honestly, this is on the defense. I say that I think everybody agrees. I'm not overstepping my boundaries by saying that this game is definitely on the defense. I take pride in a lot of it. Didn't play up to my standards. Secondary in a whole. I mean, we kind of already talked about it, and we just truly shocked. Like, we didn't expect to come out here and put this performance in week 1, but we're gonna get it right, though.
Odell Beckham says he'll continue to wear his expensive watch during games because it's, quote, just him. He was targeted 11 times and only made 7 catches this Sunday. Maybe he should watch that. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Austin Lane. I used to wear number 92, and while it's a great number, 94 just might be better.
That's because Vita de Luis recently got a 94 rating. Hey, this is Brent Martineau. Vita de Luis is a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vita de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste.
For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com.
Must be at least 21 to drink. Drink responsibly.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. Star Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by ***, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing ** mobile from your mobile phone. That's ** mobile.
Honda of the Avenues is the Honda giant with close to 700 new Hondas and quality pre-owned vehicles and award-winning service department. Jacksonville's car buyers have options and they want your car shopping experience to be fast, fun, and hassle-free. That's what you'll get on every visit, every time. Put Honda of the Avenues to the test and let them show you a fresh new approach to car shopping at Honda of the Avenues, online at HondaoftheAvenues.com. The Honda Giant.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
We're local, you're local, shop local. This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904!
I think it's time to let go.
23rd ranked Stanford at USC. Saturday at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. Presented by Dr. Pepper.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
First week here for OTAs, we had a team outing at the movies. Right. And so, the rookies kind of stick together and they roll in squads because they don't really know anyone yet. So the squad of rookies shows up at the movies, led by this character with the massive mustache. He walks in with some shortcut Daisy Dukes and a cut-off tie-dye tank top and an American flag bandana. And that was Gardner Minshew. Walking into the movies, and I'd never seen anything like that before. I was standing there with Calais and Leonard, and we said, who did we just draft?
That's kind of what you get. I mean, if you look at some of what what's fascinating to me is we saw him at the Senior Bowl. You had an interview with him at the Senior Bowl, and we're going to pull that up, and you can find it on our Facebook on ESPN 690 just to kind of refresh. I kind of forget it a little bit, but it was fun. It was one of those fun interviews because Gardner Minshew's a fun guy. And, he is who he is, which is always, I think, an admirable deal. But I've talked to him a lot in the last month because we had production meetings getting ready for preseason games, and he was the guy. And he was very he was so straight-laced and quarterback cliche in every answer that you're like, wait a minute, this isn't what we signed up for. Yeah. We're supposed to get the guy with the bandana and the short shorts and the, he comes off at the podium and he handles that QB position in that CEO kind of manner. Yeah. Even though his personality seems far from that. Mm-hmm. But that personality, I think, helped him out on Sunday be pretty cool in a tough situation. And I think that kind of gives him the confidence. Got a lot of swagger about him. And a lot of swagger and confidence comes with the fact when you know something and you're not lost in something, it's easier. Things slow down. He's a smart guy. He knows offenses. That's the book on him. The reason he's in the NFL, the reason he was impressive, that he impressed the Jags 2 minutes into their combine interview, the reason he was able to have a good year last year with Mike Leach in Washington State, even though he hadn't been there for years, thrown into a tough spot, is because he's a really smart guy, and he knows how to read offenses and learn offenses. And you could tell that out there on Sunday. This is a guy that had been in the playbook, knew the DiFilippo offense, and they could run it at least to some extent. Maybe not the extent of Nick Foles knowing it, but to some extent in a functional way. And that showed up. And when you know that, you can have a confidence about you because you don't have to think so much. You can play fast. You can see 300-pound guys coming at you. I think that's evident with Gardner Minshew.
So with Gardner Minshew, and it's funny that we're talking about the Senior Bowl, Brent, because I went back in my notes last night because I was taking notes of guys that I had to interview for the Senior Bowl, like guys that, I kind of ranked, like I got to get an interview with this guy, have to get an interview with this guy. And at the top was Gardner Minshew. And the reason why I wanted to interview him so bad was because I remember a College Game Day that kind of featured him a little bit, and it was like the power of the mustache and all that. And it was, College Game Day does a great job of telling stories, and they told Gardner Minshew's story working with Leach and everything, and it was a great story. So I saw that, and I'm just kind of going through the scouting and everything like that. I'm like, I got to get Minshew to do an interview. And the thing that I picked up on the most, and we'll definitely show that interview again here in the next couple days or so, is that he wore this crazy tuxedo thing that I brought up in the interview for a bowl game, and it's kind of the photo that's making its round, especially when he got drafted. I mean, it was the photo that you could tie to him the most. And when you got a guy like that, Brent, and talking to him from going from Alabama, as he says, to going to Wazoo, where it's kind of hippie-ish and it's kind of granola, he said they embraced him, and he embraced the culture right back. And I think you got a guy in Gardner Minshew that knows who he is. He's not rocking this mustache. He's not like doing this bandana thing, I think, from a marketing perspective. All right. Like he's not trying to up his brand to get endorsement deals and things like that. I just think it's who this guy is. Yeah. And I think that in the NFL, especially, or any professional sport, if you're comfortable in your own skin and you know exactly who you are, that can pay dividends, especially to a stressful environment like the NFL. I mean, it took me a while, Brent, because you have coaches, it's a toxic masculinity, kind of locker room and everything. And sometimes you want to be yourself, but you almost adapt to what's ahead of you just to try to fit in, to try to, quote unquote, be a good soldier, right? Well, Minshew doesn't do that. Minshew is just going to be himself. And I think there's something to be said for that. And I think that's why he's so comfortable out there, because he knows who he is. He's not trying to do anything that he's not trying to be, and he's comfortable with it.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit why he probably got along with Mike Leach. Talk about a guy who's exactly like that,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
That was a good fit
to a
out
T,
there at Wazoo. By the way, that was Chris Conley who shared that story about the movies, and he was talking about Chris Conley last night on Jags Report Live on CBS 47. Want to let you know once again, put it on your calendar. Every Monday, we'll be there 7 o'clock on CBS 47 for Jags Report Live. Had a lot of questions on the TV side. So does that mean Jaguars All Access is done? No, it's not. This is in addition to. So Mondays, Top Golf. Thursdays, Jaguars All Access at Mellow Mushroom. Calais Campbell will join us on this Thursday, along with another player. Last night, and a lot of different episodes this fall, we had Chris Conley and other players. So make sure you check us out, Top Golf. You can be a part of it on CBS 47. Mondays at 7, Thursdays at Mellow Mushroom, both 7 o'clock shows. What's realistic, man? I think it's a little bit pie in the sky right now on Minshew. And I thought you said something interesting yesterday, but I think I feel what you were saying. I feel kind of similar. And again, you're talking about the owner of the Sunshine and Rainbows Club. This is a guy I can be positive about anything. And I am positive because I think the Jags have parts, and it's not like Nick Foles is a good quarterback. I think he was going to do a lot of things, but I think relative to what you lose, you didn't just lose Aaron Rodgers. You didn't lose Tom Brady. I mean, you still lost a guy, Nick Foles, that, yes, it would be way better to have him for the next 9 weeks. We still didn't exactly know what we were getting out of Nick Foles. Exactly.
But to be fair, Brent, at least we knew that he had the leadership aspect down.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say, listen, I know he's going to be in the locker room helping Gardner Minshew and everything like that, and he's still going to be seen in that locker room. His presence will be felt, which is important. But being on the IR a little bit, rehabbing, it's not the same.
No, it's totally different when you're hurt.
It's completely different.
Yes, and listen, I'm not trying to frame this like, hey, they're okay because Nick Foles, but I'm not trying to frame it like that. This is devastating. It's a big blow to this football team, huge for the next 9 weeks at the very least. And to piggyback off that, I feel like you felt yesterday. You said I was leaving the stadium, and you said. I think you said, I'm not that concerned about the defense. You were more concerned about discipline. Yeah. And you also weren't that high on Minshew, even though he had a good performance.
Yeah, I wasn't that hyped up. But yeah.
And I guess you appreciate the performance.
Of course.
And I do too. But I also kind of feel like I've been around this enough and I've seen it enough over 2 decades of covering the NFL that you also know reality awaits on the other side. Unless this is something special and you can't predict it. But reality is when you go to your backup quarterback and he's a rookie and he's a 6th-round guy that comes in with question marks even to begin with, it's not like Dwayne Haskins was sitting behind Nick Foles, and you can get excited about him.
I mean, it's not like when Ben Roethlisberger came in for Tommy Maddox, Big Ben goes 13-0.
It's right. It's actually, I was in New England covering the Patriots when Brady comes in for Bledsoe.
Okay.
And now, in hindsight, you can sit here and say, yeah, look at that. Everybody was so hyped about Brady. No, they weren't. You were getting a 6th-round QB that looked like me at Michigan at the Combine, maybe worse. From an athlete
dressed exactly like him too, by the way.
And yes, and so there wasn't that hype. I was there. I was covering the Patriots. There wasn't that hype around Brady, and like it was. Oh no, Bledsoe went down. He's done. That's what it was. Well, what happened is now historic over the last 2 decades, but nobody expected it, and I don't think anybody would expect that out of Minshew, even for a short term, 2 months. So I think the reality is this is going to be tough. This is not going to look pretty at times. He will go through learning experiences. He needs Fournette to have a good 2 months. He needs this defense to have a really good 2 months. He needs receivers like Dede Westbrook and Chris Conley and DJ Chark to step up. DeFilippo's really going to have to call some of the best things he's called probably to this date as an offensive coordinator in the NFL. He needs his offensive line to be really good. So, and what happens in sports sometimes is those guys do up their game because they realize that. That's the crazy part about sports. When you take away this piece, everybody ups their game. I mean, we talked about it recently with like Bryce Harper and the Nationals. Nationals are playing well. Why? Because they probably all said, hey, it's time for us to do our job a little bit more. We're not going to just watch this one guy play ball.
True.
There's an element of that. It's a subconscious kind of element. Yeah. But there's an element of that, I think, in sports. So what is the reality? And I think they have to really try to be 5-5 to stay in this thing. By the time, if everything goes well and Foles comes back at week 11, well, they're already 0-1. That makes you 5-4. I mean, am I out of my mind to think they could go 5-4 over the next 9 games? I mean, is that almost a ridiculous notion?
You're not out of your mind there, Brent. And listen, if you want to, we can compare him to Tom Brady and things like that. Like, I'm not saying Gardner Minshew is going to be the next Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
No, for sure. And I get that. But, like, let's look at the Dak Prescott situation real quick. All right, Tony Romo gets hurt. Dak Prescott, I think, was a 4th-round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
He was.
Comes in and goes 13-3 his rookie year. 13-3, Brent. Like, I mean, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you see Dak Prescott, you're like, man.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice comp.
But let's see what they do with Dak Prescott, though. They didn't put the game in his hands. They didn't say, all right, Dak, well, Tony Romo's out now. You got to go win us these ball games, man. The pressure's all on you. He had the pieces around him, all right? He had a pretty solid defense. Obviously, he had that offensive line that we've been talking about, I feel like, for the past decade. And then you had weapons at wide receiver. You had Des Bryant and everything. So from that perspective, Des Bryant was actually decent. He's kind of struggled the past couple of years, but that's another story. But if you look at Gardner Minshew and what he has right now with the Jaguars, you got a back that you can give the rock to, 25 times a game, depending he stays healthy. You have a very intriguing receiving core, and you have a defense that I still think, maybe people are off the bandwagon, that's going to have your back. I truly believe that. And if you look at the success that Russell Wilson had his first year, this happens a lot. If you have a solid defense, you have a rookie quarterback that comes in, especially, maybe a later pick that no one really thought of really doing anything, it gives them a shot. It gives them a setup. Now, yeah, Minshew's still got to come out. You can't turn the ball over. You have to make smart decisions. But I'm just saying, when I look at the Jacksonville Jaguars roster, top to bottom right now, it is intriguing from the standpoint where he has the pieces around him to at least be somewhat successful, I think.
Yeah, and you got to get some breaks, and you got to stay healthy, and that offensive line really has to play well at the end of the day. I mean, he can move a little bit, but they have to play around. They have to play really well. It's interesting you bring up Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson in those situations, because I agree with you. People think Russell Wilson right now, and they think, oh, yeah, the guy throws for 350, and he's throwing all.
Highest paid quarterback in the league, by the way.
Well, he is, but he didn't start out that way.
No.
He started out playing with a running attack and a good defense, and don't screw it up.
Yeah.
That's what he played with. That's how when they were good, they didn't ask him to go win football games. Now, every quarterback has to try to win a game here or there, but they didn't ask him. Now, in the last couple of years, they said, hey, this is your team. We're going to pay you the highest amount of money in the NFL. Go win football games.
Yeah.
They've said that to him a little bit. So you got to put yourself back when we're talking about early years of Russell Wilson. Here's the catch. Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott even, what we know about them now, after years of evidence, is they have a leadership ability, at least that's raved about. It's an it factor when it comes to that. That's different. It's different. So the question is, does Gardner Minshew have something that's an it factor, that's different, that makes him different?
Yeah.
Not just a guy that can play football. And maybe it is his smarts. I mean, maybe it is he's got an understanding. You go back and watch that tape, and he made a lot of nice plays. Got him into situations, made the right choices. Again, the defense is going to get better from here on out the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. But is that the it factor for him?
And don't forget, Russell Wilson, his rookie year, went 11-5. And a lot of that has to do with handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch, which I'm not going to compare him to Leonard Fournette, but could be comparable.
Same idea.
And a solid defense. Now, I'm not saying they're the Legion of Boom, but there is a lot of hype around this Jaguars defense. So you never know.
Let's answer the question. What's their record through Week 10? Next on ESPN 690. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. The Greater Jacksonville Area Cadillac Dealers Action Sports Jax Dream 18 is just around the corner. September 16th at the Golf Club at Southampton. Thanks to our presenting sponsors as well, the law offices of Ron Scholes and the Players Championship. Your business can still be a part of the event to raise money for St. Michael's Soldiers and North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors is challenging local businesses to donate $1,000. Join the $1,000 charity challenge at actionsportsjaxdream18.com.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Hey, boss, you're not gonna believe this.
What now?
Remember Frankie, the guy we've been showing the ropes to?
Who?
You know, our protege.
Oh, yeah, Frankie. The next generation of crooks making us proud.
Yeah, not so much. Boss, he just got busted.
Hey, what?
Yup. Cops caught him. He was, boss, you might want to sit down for this.
Uh-oh. Sounds serious.
Yeah, they caught him breaking into our warehouse.
Oh, that little weasel. Of all the places to break into, he chose our warehouse. You just can't trust anyone these days.
Yeah, and he knew we had Safe Touch security monitoring the place with the two-way communicator, the video monitoring.
Huh. Serves him right for breaking rule number 1 in the Crooks R Us handbook. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security System. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Pros, when the job demands more of the supplies you use most, start with Lowe's.
Because at Lowe's, we stock the right quantities you need for any size job. And at everyday savings, like up to 30% off drywall, drywall accessories, and insulation every day when you buy in bulk. Order at Lowe'sForPros.com and we'll have your order ready for pickup with dedicated pro loaders to get you loaded up and back to the job site faster. For your next job and the next, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
Tuesdays are the worst. They're all that stands between you and the downhill part of the week. But now they're a lot less worse, because Wing Tuesdays at B-Dubs are buy one, get one free traditional wings. So Monday, you may kick off the week. Wednesday, you may have a cool nickname. Thursday, you might be the almost weekend. But watch your back, because Tuesdays just officially became Wing Tuesdays. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar!
Buy one traditional wings order and get one of equal value free. Participation and promotional details vary by location. Check in with your favorite Buffalo Wild Wings to learn more about this offer.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, the Patriots trading one of their receivers to an AFC East rival. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports they're sending Demaryius Thomas to the Jets for a 2021 sixth-round pick. New England with an abundance at receiver after the Antonio Brown signing. Brown spent time with quarterback Tom Brady, taking initial steps to build more on-field chemistry. Brady called Brown a very smart football player who's been extremely productive. Despite Brown's incredible talent, it's hard to imagine things working out in New England, believes ESPN's Jack Del Rio.
I know Antonio is a gifted football player, and I know the Patriots have been the team that can kind of absorb different guys and decide if they want to, continue on after a short time or not. It's just so toxic. What I watch from AB, it doesn't fit.
Jack Del Rio on Golick and Wingo. No decision's been made yet whether Brown will be active for Sunday's game in Miami. Eagles defensive tackle Malik Jackson will have surgery on a significant foot injury next week. He is expected to miss the rest of the season.
Nature Valley Sweet and Salty Bars are the indulgent break you deserve in your day. Have you tried the dark chocolate, peanut, and almond flavor? Now that's a sit on the dock and take a moment kind of bar. Nature Valley Sweet and Salty Bars.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
The big thing about a Monday after a loss, especially beginning of the season, is your approach to it, your mindset. You can come in, you can panic, or you can come in, you can take the good with the bad, take everything with a grain of salt, and realize that there's a lot of work that needs to go on between now and your next game. This Monday, we came in, we looked at the film, we saw all the mistakes, we saw the penalties, we saw the mental errors, the times where we got out of our game and we made mistakes where we gave them field position, we gave them second opportunities, and we also saw the good things. We saw the ability to move the ball with our second-string quarterback. We saw the ability of our defense to snap back and to make some plays, but we know all the things that we have to do and that we have to work at. And we're not really kidding ourselves here. We know there's a lot of work that has to be done for this team to get those wins.
Dang. Chris Conley for president. Well spoken, sir.
That's Chris Conley last night on Jags Report Live. This guy's good. I said it today. I mean, Calais Campbell's outstanding. Has been. It's his third year on Jaguars All Access. Chris Conley he's got a bright future ahead of him. I mean, he's an interesting guy too. We talked a little bit about the surfing. He's a big Star Wars fan. I think he does a lot of different things. I think he's a lot of different interests. But he can talk football. And I think, listen, let's be honest with you. One of the reasons we asked Chris to be on the show for Jags Report Live, and he's going to be on the show quite a bit, is because I think he has a chance to have a really big year. I think this has a breakout opportunity. I think that's one of the reasons he came to Jacksonville. It's a breakout opportunity here in Jacksonville. He was hidden behind a lot of weapons in Kansas City, and there's only so many footballs to go around. So many times Patrick Mahomes can throw the football in Kansas City. Well, here, they're waiting for somebody to make that next step. And Chris Conley, although we talk about it as young guys often, like a DJ Chark going from year 1 to year 2, Chris Conley's going into year 5, and it's more situational now where he can even take another step. But that was him last night, Jags Report Live. I'm always fascinated on CBS 47, by the way, at Top Golf. Come join us every Monday at 7 o'clock for that show. We just debuted it yesterday. I'm always fascinated by, this outside connection to football and then the inner workings of the NFL. Like what goes on inside the bubble of Jags headquarters, which sometimes it is really a bubble. Like they are in their own world, the players, coaches, everybody else. And then what is now, because we talk about this sport so much, because it's gambled on, because fantasy football, it gets people's emotions going. It's the water cooler topic. It's what we talk about a lot on this show and shows all around the country. I always say this, and I'll someday look back in retrospect and thank the NFL probably for how many people they put in business in our industry and keep in business because of the dollars involved in the NFL. I mean, that's just the way it is. But it's part of our culture so much. I said this to the guys in the sports office the other day. So if you were just dropped in or had been in a coma for 40 years or dropped in out of this world and came in, you would look at the way we look at football on a Sunday and how we react to it on a Monday and how we get ready for it on a Thursday and a Friday. And I'm talking the NFL. I even think it's different than college. And I understand college has this element to it. And you'd be like, what in the world are wrong with these people?
No, I mean
the overreaction.
You think Game of Thrones is crazy? Like everyone's around the water cooler. Oh, can you believe Jon Snow this? Dude, NFL beats that tenfold.
I mean, you really would. Our fascination with it.
Yeah.
Our infatuation with it and every topic that goes along with it. I think Kevin Durant actually kind of talked about this today or wherever I think it was in the New York Times or something or Wall Street Journal. But he's like, he gets tired of the circus of the NBA. Well, the circus of the NBA is kind of what makes the uptick of the NBA right now. The circus of the NFL, the day-to-day, whether the circus involves Antonio Brown, good football games like we had last night at 7, or fantasy football gambling and everything else that surrounds it, crazy fans, that's the circus of the NFL, and that's what makes it thrive in a way. I can understand why players can get tired of that. In the social media world especially.
And to be fair, though, you talk about the circuses of the NBA and the circus of the NFL. The big difference is, though, the circus of the NBA, say you're an NBA player, you do something stupid or whatever, it gets in the headlines. Well, guess what? You get to do like the next day? Go play a basketball game. As opposed to an NFL player where, we'll be talking about Miles Jack throwing that punch until the next game on Sunday. And then hopefully he comes out and has a good game against Houston. So the turnover is so much faster in the NBA than it is in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, it is. And I mean, so much so that you should see the emails we get when CBS went off the air with the game in the final few minutes.
Yeah.
Not only that, but also what we get when we show a certain game instead of another game. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So that was a long way of saying I'm fascinated with what happens on the outside part of the world. And then what reality is, at least for the 53 players and the coaches that exist. And that's why I always like to ask, what happens on a Monday in the film room? How much do you temper this down while the whole world is on fire about one game, about one situation? And you are so trained to be like, we're going to watch this film, and then we're going to forget about this in about 8 hours, and we're going to take a day off tomorrow, which is now today, and we're going to go back to practice on Wednesday, and it's like Sunday never happened to us. We are now on to Houston Texans. It's unbelievable how that happens.
And it's like we just talked about, Brent, it's the turnaround, right? Like especially, going through some of those dark days, winning, I think, 2 or 3 games with Malarkey, and then the year before that, and Coach Del Rio gets fired, and we had a horrible season then. I mean, yeah, you want to put your blinders on and just focus on the next opponent, right? That's what we tell you guys in the media. But that's not what happens. Like we hear those radio interviews, like we're out in public and fans may ask us like, hey, what the heck happened last Sunday? Like, step it up, guy. People come up to you and just say that. And they have every right to. I'm not trying to knock the fans whatsoever. But just to be a professional athlete, especially a football player, and just say, oh yeah, we're on the next one. It's all good. No, especially nowadays, Brent, excuse me, with Twitter, with Facebook, with Instagram, with everything being so accessible to people, what people's opinions say about you. Oh, I mean, yeah, we're going to tell you that we're not worried about it. We were on the next one. But I guarantee you, unless you're Puzz, unless you're like an Aaron Campman who doesn't have social media, yeah, you're not on. You're seeing what people are saying about
and that's the other fascinating part of how the mentality has changed, because I think for a short time there, and I don't know what the window was, and probably was around when you were playing, when Twitter's coming out and everything, you're like, well, coaches could be like, oh, don't even get on Twitter. And you'd be like, well, I'm not even on Twitter. I'm not looking at Twitter. And maybe that was the case. Well, now it's almost embraced, right? I mean, Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, those guys are making money on Twitter. They are on Twitter. Well, that's how their business is booming, is on Twitter. So, or I shouldn't say just Twitter, Instagram and other places. So social media. So now they have wrapped themselves around it. And do they know how to funnel that correctly, right? I've had both experiences. I've had experiences where I remember Allen Robinson, I said something about Allen Robinson, and he liked the tweet.
Well, I was
right? I remember that instance. But Allen Robinson never, like, the next time I saw him, he was like, what the heck are you doing to that tweet? You know, like, what? He didn't act that way. He kind of understood it. He knew it. You could tell.
Yeah.
And then I had the other instance with, like, Jared Odrick, where I probably said something a little bit more flippant. It was like, I remember it was in the Chargers game, San Diego Chargers, on the road. They got their butt whooped again by Phillip Rivers, and he jumped off sides. And
I remember that game. He went crazy.
Yeah,
he went ballistic.
And I said something like, "Oh, Odrick jumps off sides for the 100th time this season." Right? It was like 5 games in, because they were so undisciplined.
It was a bad season.
And it was interesting the way Odrick actually handled it in an interesting way. Like the next time I did the interview, he answered the question to say,
by the way, he's an interesting cat.
He is an interesting cat, but he answered the question like something to the effect of, well, if I had to do it for 100 times.
just a passive aggressive approach.
Oh yeah,
I love it, dude. Yeah,
big time. And so then we had a conversation about
it.
But it's just it's different, right? A few years ago, again, you said it. Puzz, those guys, they would never react because they don't even know. They're like, what? So, we had a game the other day.
And then let's go ahead and tie this back to Doug Marrone. We talked about, and you brought this point up, Brent, where why isn't Doug Marrone in the media more holding Miles Jack responsible? Why isn't he calling him out, making an example?
South Beach Gary had asked that.
South Beach Gary asked that, and I'll share a quick story with you. My rookie year, and Twitter is just kind of on the up and up right now. And I think as far as like sports journalists were concerned and things like that, like they would sometimes tweet quotes of what coaches would say. Well, I'll never forget, and this is the Mike Thomas game where, against Houston, the Hail Mary, we win the game, best game I was ever part of, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Well, I'll never forget, it was one of my very first starts in the NFL, and a reporter must have asked Jack Del Rio, because they used to call me, Brent, they used to call me the bringer of pain, right? So a reporter goes, so what is Austin Lane, the bringer of pain? What have you seen from him so far? And I read this on Twitter, the transcript, and Del Rio goes, well, I'll tell you what, he's causing me a lot of pain right now. and I saw that, and I'll be honest, man, like I wasn't looking for it. It just popped up like, a reporter that I followed or whoever it was posted it, and I saw that. I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. So like, but this is my point though. And that was back in 2010. So now let's flash forward 2019, man. So I guess I can see the point why Marrone doesn't want to take care of things in the media. I think he's going to handle it internally. Not to say Miles Jack got off the hook whatsoever. I'm sure he got an earful behind closed doors. But I think it's a great point that you brought up where, yeah, of course he's going to take care of it and behind doors. But in terms of the media, it's just kind of very vanilla.
So what did you do after that? Do you remember? I mean, was it
I just kept living my life, man. You know what? Like,
you never, did you ever ask Del Rio about it?
No, I never brought it. And I wish I would have asked him about it when we interviewed
him. Him back. I talked to Jack the other day. He was in Jacksonville, actually.
I got you.
For the game.
Yeah,
so he'll come back on.
Okay,
he said he wants to come back on.
Because literally just talk about this, rehash that story for me.
But, well, it's interesting because, listen, if you're, I think you got to relate it. And I know it's different because people say the number one thing that's different is the money. Okay, I get it. The money's different. You guys are making a lot more money than average Joe's making in a workplace.
Yeah.
But if your boss went on Twitter and said something, you'd be like, you wouldn't sleep all night.
Yeah.
Average, we wouldn't sleep.
Yeah.
We wouldn't.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it in an email form or bringing you into the office, at least but if everybody else knew that your boss just said this about you.
Yeah.
In a place that doesn't even fly, by the way. It doesn't even fly probably from an HR perspective in the world. So it's so different. It's so different.
So, and it works both ways, though. And this just reminded me of another story from my rookie season. So when I first got drafted, and mind you, this is 2010, all right? This is an Austin Lane who's coming out of Murray State with a chip on his shoulder who wants to make an impact. And I forgot who the interview was even conducted by, but basically they asked me, what do you look to bring to the Jacksonville Jaguars? And I said that I wanted to cause as much pain to the opponent's quarterbacks as possible. And that's kind of like where the bringer of pain came from.
Yeah.
Del Rio goes up to me, he's like, hey, let's keep that under wraps. Let's not say, we're going to hurt quarterbacks. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Sounds good. Week 2 or 3 of the regular season, Vito, Vito.
Yeah, Vito's still leading.
Is interviewing
Hall
me.
of Famer.
And mind you, I'm still a rookie, right? So, I don't know the ins and outs.
Vito's far from a rookie.
No, exactly. He's very experienced. Hall of Famer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is.
So he asked me, so what are you seeing out there? And I go, well, I really want to get my pass rushing skills increased so I can bring a lot of pain to the quarterback and cause a lot of pain and injury. And I said that, I'm like, but that's off the record. Yeah, I said off the record. Well, what gets posted in the paper the next day? Austin Lane wants to cause pain and injury to quarterbacks. So then I try to take the initiative and go to Jack and be like, hey, so there's this article. I read the article. I'm like, there's this article out there. I said something that I probably shouldn't have said. He's like, kind of shook his head at me a little bit. But it works both ways though, know? And like I said, this is back in 2010, Brent. 9 years later, and now it's 10 times as worse. So I can see the perspective where keeping things vanilla sometimes is the way to go.
And again, it's something that, we talk about, as I mentioned earlier, Jim Harbaugh, has it passed him by a little bit in just a sense that he's so old school? Well, you have to take all these old school guys, and they now have to factor that in to the temperature of their locker room. Mm-hmm. Unless you have the ultimate respect of a Saban or a Belichick or whatever, that you just can do whatever the heck you want. You're going to do it my way, you're out of here. And they've built that. But there's a lot of places that are trying to build things. Yeah. And you have to worry about that stuff.
I think Wisconsin's a great example with head coach Paul Chryst. Paul Chryst isn't a flashy, rah-rah type dude. He's an old school guy that grew up in the system. He's been there forever. So, I guess I bring it back to this, Brent. You have to be who you are. I think that's the biggest thing in terms of coaching. You can't put on a facade, and like I've talked about before on this show, I may have played for a coach that put on a little facade, and the team addressed that. Yeah. So you can't have a facade. You have to be true to who you are. And if you're true to who you are, players can tell that, and you'll earn respect. Now, will they play for you? Will they give your heart for you? Maybe, maybe not, but at least you earn their respect. That's the start. But if you come in 1 week and you're acting one way, next week a different way, you lose the respect. If you lose the respect, you lose the locker room and you lose the culture.
Hey, let's hang on to the happy hour horn. We'll do it on the other side of this. And also, we got to answer the question. We got off kind of on a tangent there, but we'll answer the question. What's the Jags record through week number 10? We'll get to some other things, including our Baker Sports Coach of the Week, as well from the high school ranks, all on the way on ESPN 690 next.
Action Sports Jags with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Fair to partly cloudy tonight with an isolated brief shower as temperatures drop into the low to mid 70s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
At Planet Fitness, you can join a great gym for just 25 cents down, so you don't have to flip a coin between quality and price. You get both. Tons of equipment or free fitness training? Both. Great price or a clean environment? Yep, both. Join Planet Fitness for 25 cents down and $10 a month with no commitment and get a great workout at a great value. Join in club or online at planetfitness.com.
Flash sale September 9th and 10th only. Hurry, join now.
See Club for details.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra Sales Event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Camry? It's not $26,000. Now it's only $17,988. That's $17,988 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Camry at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota Corolla? It's not $22,000. No way. Now it's just $13,888. Just $13,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer
details.
We're local, you're local, shop local. This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
Shop the 904.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18, and it can be your golf destination. The Golf Club at Southampton. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. The Golf Club at Southampton is where I play a lot of golf, and you can too. Enjoy your golf experience by calling 287-PLAY. Play some golf, watch some football, and oh yeah, food. They've got that too. Southampton has it all. Even a special tailgate catering menu. Give Lisa a call for your tailgate catering. 287-PLAY for tea times, football, and food at the Golf Club at Southampton.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra Sales Event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you'll pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander, it's not $35,500. Now it's only $24,888. That's $24,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota 4Runner? It's not $36,500. No way. Now it's just $28,888. Just $28,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota 4Runner at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Talking to Chris Long, have you at all had any itch about playing again?
I'm not going to lie, I get the itch from time to time. If I ever got an opportunity that was right for me, and I'd look at it.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jax with our friend Brent Martineau on ESPN 690.
All right, let's get to that happy hour horn as quick as we can because we were story timing at 5 o'clock.
Sorry about that.
Hey, we got the whole hour. It's not like it has to hit at 5:03.
Okay.
We're not up against the clock.
All right,
if I did that, I would have been out of business a long time ago. But anyway, it is happy hour horn time, brought to you by Vita de Louis.
Party now begin. See the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace. No. Anything goes. Gangsters are rolling, half-face smiling. Heads up, think of the rhythm what you're drinking. Anything goes.
Grab a drink, get a shot, and sip your Star Tenders and chase that down if your name's Brent Martineau or Justin Kuzat with a giant L in fantasy football.
Oh, it is. And chase it down with a little Vita de Louis. Recently got a 94 rating, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville. Made in Tequila, Mexico. Shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vita de Louis Tequila. One of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLouis.com. Drink responsibly. We'll have the Vita de Louis folks out at the Action Sports Jax Stream 18. That's coming up in less than a week. It's Monday at the Golf Club at Southampton. Big thank you to Vita de Louis, but also so many other folks that have helped this be such a success. Maybe our most successful year yet in our 10th anniversary of the Dream 18 concept, and another golf tournament to go on Monday. Cadillac, our title sponsor. We'll have all the sports teams out there. The Shrimp, the JU Dolphins, UNF Ospreys, Sharks, the Jaguars, the Icemen, the Giants. Giants are a big presenting sponsor for us, along with the law offices of Ron Scholes. The Players Championship will be a part of it as well, thanks to Airstream Ventures and the Armada. I don't want to forget about the Jacksonville Armada and Top Golf too. So many people to thank. We'll do more of it throughout the rest of the week. And then the big event coming up on Monday. And right now, I saw a forecast that said you might have some thunderstorms in the afternoon, but we tee off at 9. So as long as we get it done in the morning and early afternoon, that we're good. And also I saw a temperature of 86, which is going to feel like 65. So it might have a nice day. I mean, the way it's been so hot, man. I mean, I love the heat, but it has been hot. And now we're getting deeper into September. And 98 and feel like's around 105. Not that fun.
Yeah, I mean, stay hydrated. You know, if you're the Florida State Seminoles, hopefully they learn how to stay hydrated from there.
I wonder who's coming up with a hydration class at Florida State. It's a new major.
There is a need for it, right? Yeah, do what you can, man.
At least the folks that claim Gatorade in Gainesville didn't have that issue. That would have been a worse problem.
Here's a question I always had real quick. So Gatorade was obviously made in Gainesville. Does the university, do they get some kind of cut of that or not?
I should know that, but I don't want to talk out of turn, and I'll have to look it up instead.
We'll look that up.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I don't think they get. I mean, they might get some free Gatorade along the way.
I mean, a lot of people do. Yeah.
But I don't know. Somebody else probably knows this better than I do.
Gotcha.
I don't think they're invested in Gatorade.
Yeah, I got you.
In that sense.
Okay.
I don't think there's return.
Sure, I got you.
But I might be wrong.
Who knows? Yeah, okay.
It could happen. A couple other things. What's the record when the Jaguars?
Good question.
Play the Colts on November, I think it's 17th it is. And Nick Foles is due to come back. It doesn't mean he will come back, by the way. He's due to come back on November, eligible to come back.
Yeah.
So assuming Gardner Minshew plays through the first 10 games, Jaguars are 0-1 right now. Houston, Tennessee. So I still think they beat Tennessee here. I love the home Thursday night game. Home Thursday night game usually is a huge advantage for the home team. I'm taking them there. I don't know about this week on Tuesday. Again, Houston doesn't scare me. I think it's a 50-50 game.
8.5 point favorites right now.
It's dropped, though. It was 9.5.
Oh, okay. There you go.
If it is 8.5, that's the latest.
It was this morning, but this. What do you use for the points? Yeah,
it was 9.5 yesterday before Houston played.
Okay, well, let me look it up right now again then.
Maybe once they put Magoo on the active roster because
20 plus 20 all day, just in case it goes in.
Because Watson, who knows with his situation, I guess. And they saw that offensive line play again. Maybe it dropped a point. But anyway. You got Denver, which isn't necessarily like, oh, Denver's really good. It's
in Denver,
It's in Denver, and Chubb and Miller and Jags offensive line still has to prove some things. Obviously, Flacco and that offense aren't going to scare you and worry you, but I still think, can they get to 2-2 after this first month? I think it's very possible. I just don't know how they do it. I don't know if they win the next 2 or maybe they win the last 2 of the month. I think 2-2 is possible, though, in the first month. Then at Carolina, I think it's a tricky game for them. I think the Saints here at home, tough game for them. I could see them being 2-4. And then the most important games coming up are those next 2. Who's after New Orleans?
Cincinnati.
And then the Jets, right?
Yeah. Who played Seattle pretty tough, all things considered.
But the Jags,
AJ Green's out.
If this season is going anywhere for the Jags, even with the backup quarterback situation, they have to win those 2 games, in my
Cincinnati.
opinion.
Yeah,
at Cincinnati, home against the
York.
Jets. And so is it doable with a backup quarterback? I think it is. I mean, those are teams that if you're any good, you've got to beat them. You've got to beat them. And maybe, in the NFL, you might lose to Cincinnati, but then that's because you beat New Orleans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So as long as it shakes out some way like that, and that could be 4-4, then what's left? What's the other 2 games before 17th?
We got
London?
Houston. Well, then it's Houston in Jacksonville.
London. That's in London.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, and then it's the Colts. November 17th, because you have a bye week then after November 3rd.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that. So it's really not 10 games. It really is 9 games.
Yes.
Okay, so they've got so they could legit go 4-4 the next 8 games.
Yeah, I mean, listen though,
I got them 4-5 in the next 9. By the time they play that game against the Colts, Jags are 4-5.
I'm gonna have a lot better idea once I see the teams play again this weekend. I get the fact, Brent, that you say the Thursday night game against the Tennessee Titans, the home field advantage is more prevalent, I think, during Thursday than it is on Sunday. I'll come with you on that. But this is the Tennessee Titans, man. And the Tennessee Titans have had the Jacksonville Jaguars number for a while now. So I'm really,
I'm not scared of Tennessee. I'm not scared of the Tennessee Titans.
But if you're not scared of them, but they beat you the past 4 times,
I don't care.
Right?
You can't. That's part of it. Get it out of your head.
Okay.
I'm not scared. Listen, the kicker's in the head of Chicago. The refs are in the head of New Orleans. Get it out of your head. Tennessee, you're going to beat them.
Went to Cleveland and pretty much handled Cleveland pretty easily.
Yeah, and you know what? Tennessee, to their credit, does that from time to time. Tennessee, when they go 8-8 and 9-7 or 7-9, will beat Seattle, who looks like they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, what the heck? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
And then they'll lose to the Dolphins.
But the way they did it, though, Brent, it wasn't just like, pound the rock and stop the run. I mean, they threw some passes to Derrick Henry. That paid off in dividends. A.J. Brown now is coming out looking like he's the real deal. Corey Davis. I mean, like, Delaney Walker's still a pretty good tight end. I get what you're saying, but you can't take the Titans lightly, obviously. But I'm going to come with you. I'm going to say that they can win 4 games in that span.
That's good. You just don't know if they're going to beat the Titans. I get it.
No, I really don't.
You're scared of the Titans.
Honestly, I'm not that worried about the Broncos.
245 pounds, and you're scared of the Titans.
I mean, Derrick Henry in a cage could be a good match.
Henry in a cage would be a good match.
But I'll be honest, though. I think right now I'm less scared. We can ask about Ryan O'Halloran when we talk to him again, but I'm less scared of the Broncos right now.
Yeah. First impression, not good.
Joe Flacco, nah.
Yeah.
Their defense, I don't know, Brent. Like, this is a team that's, you know what, it's kind of comparable to the Jaguars, right? Like, the Broncos are built on that defense, that defensive line, that secondary, and Gruden exposed them. They didn't look ready to play. And you got a head coach in Vic Fangio that takes trust me when I say this, takes super great pride in his defense, and to come out like that, not a good look. So
you just hit my fallen, by the way. So
my bad.
Don't be. It's not your bad. We had to get into it anyway. But my fallen was the Broncos. That was a bad performance to be. I think a lot of people had them as kind of that sexy pick to emerge of surprises.
Yeah.
Well, that was not a good start. I mean, you had a chance to kind of. You get the feel, I get Antonio Brown being gone helps Oakland, but it's still Oakland. And they're kind of a mess, and they feel like they're a mess. And Mayock and Gruden and what's going on, and Derek Carr, and what is he? And they didn't do anything to stop that. I mean, I thought that was an easy game to pick. Denver beating Oakland, with or without Antonio Brown. And it turned into a disaster for Denver. So I thought it was a brutal performance again, overreaction way. I mean, are they going 2-14? Maybe not. They'll figure things out. But it was a bad performance. That was my fall.
The other game I think the Jaguars are very capable of winning are the Panthers. I've never been buying in on the Panthers this season. I don't buy Cam Newton as a quarterback, and I don't buy their offense. I get Christian McCaffrey's a good dude, and if you're the linebacking core for the Jaguars, you got to keep him in check. But I'm not sold on the Panthers either. So I think Jaguars can definitely win that game in Carolina. My fallen really quick, Malik Jackson.
It's too bad, man.
A former guest of the show. I really enjoyed talking to the dude. Out for the entire season due to a Liz Frank injury.
Tough injury.
Yeah, I've been there. It sucks, man.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. And what's the worst part about it? It's the name, Liz Frank injury. It doesn't sound that, intense, but trust me, it's an intense injury.
Yeah. A lot of people say that's a tough. I mean, there's Achilles, there's Liz Franks, those are some of the tougher injuries to come back from and deal with for football players. Sorry to see that for Malik Jackson. When we come back, we'll do a little ballin'. Our Baker Sports Coach of the Week as well, and more football talk. That's what we do. It's on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. It's way early in this season, but the new NFL Power Rankings are out, and the Jags have dropped 9 spots to 26 after their loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in the home opener. Jalen Ramsey is stepping up like a team leader and shouldering a lot of blame for the loss.
Honestly, this is on the defense. I say that I think everybody agrees. I'm not overstepping my boundaries by saying that this game is definitely on the defense. I take pride in a lot of it. Didn't play up to my standards. Secondary in a whole. I mean, we kind of already talked about it, and we just truly shocked. Like, we didn't expect to come out here and put this performance in week 1, but we're gonna get right, though.
Odell Beckham says he'll continue to wear his expensive watch during games because it's, quote, just him. He was targeted 11 times and only made 7 catches this Sunday. Maybe he should watch that. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Austin Lane. I used to wear number 92, and while it's a great number, 94 just might be better.
That's because Vida de Luis recently got a 94 rating. Hey, this is Brent Martineau. Vida de Luis is a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis tequila, one of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste.
For locations, recipes, and merchandise, visit VitaDeLuis.com.
Leave your troubles ashore. Live the island life with the citrus of the sea. Vida de Luis tequila. Must be at least 21 to drink. Drink responsibly. Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777. Peace of mind only a click or phone call away, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Beard's Diamonds guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a GIA certified diamond in North Florida. Shop Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center.
Shop the 904.
We're local, you're local, shop local. This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Local businesses are also the ones who give more back to the community by supporting local charities and sponsoring your kids' sports teams.
This holiday season, when you shop the 904, you're also giving the gift of helping your local community stay unique.
Sure, it's tempting to try to save a few bucks shopping the giant online or national retailers, but those few bucks you save would do more for our local economy if you shop local.
Shop the 904 and help keep our community unique.
Shop the 904.
Our partners at BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country, would like to thank all of the coaches out there who truly are the heart of the game. While BSN Sports is the best at equipping athletes with a one-stop shop for everything needed to run an athletic program, coaches are the best at equipping lives. And that's the real final score. Learn more about how BSN Sports can save you time off the field so you can impact more lives on it by calling your local BSN Sports sales professional or by visiting bsnsports.com today.
There is one name synonymous with joint replacement excellence, and that name is Heekin of the Heekin Clinic. For 18 years, Dr. R. David Heekin and his staff have been the leader for treatment of hip and knee pain. Eliminating hip and knee pain through advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques has been Dr. Heekin's sole goal since retiring from the Army in 2001. If you're looking to ease your hip and knee pain, schedule an appointment today and call 328-5979 or visit HeekinClinic.com. That's HeekinClinic.com.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra Sales Event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you'll pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander? It's not $35,500. Now, it's only $24,888. That's $24,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota 4Runner? It's not $36,500. No way. Now it's just $28,888. Just $28,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota 4Runner at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Look at Jerry Jones' face when he said what he said. He looks pissed. He's had this man's back while paying him in excess of $5 to $6 million.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back. We're talking a lot about the business in commercial break.
The business.
It's a fun business.
Yeah,
Fascinating business.
So far, so good. I'm having a blast.
I always thought there was a time that I was like, I feel like I could do. I wonder if people would be as interested in the business as like the business side of it, because so few people know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Our business, much like I don't know how somebody else, like car business works or whatever.
Sure.
Like, but like I'm intrigued at times. Like if I'm playing golf with somebody and they're an accountant or whatever, and there's so many people that will say they do something, I'm like, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? You know,
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, I'm just so locked in on what I do. I don't really know what that is.
Yeah.
So I'm always fascinated to see how like other people's jobs work. And
Sometimes, have I ever shared the story about the people that I hated giving Uber rides to the most? Have I ever told that story real quick? So it's kind of on topic here where, like you wonder what other people do. And usually I'm fascinated, but there was one type of person out of everybody that I could not stand giving a ride to. And it wasn't like the drunk person at Jack's Beach. It was when I was going to the airport, I always kind of held my breath a little bit because I'm like, please don't get this person. Please don't get this person. Because they're always at the airport going to a hotel downtown. And this type of person is like, like the Wall Street, the stock market, the typical businessman who doesn't even have time to say hi to you as he gets in the car because he's on his Bluetooth the whole time, swearing because, something's up or something's down and he's losing, a boatload of money and like he's stressing out about it. And yeah, like that whole kind of scene right there, Brent, that's not something I ever want to be involved in right there. So that's why I'm happy to be in sports media.
and that's interesting. It's not really against like whatever they do, but it just like you knew you weren't going to have a conversation with that person. It was going to be a ride and you were just going to hear yelling, swearing, up, down. You might as well just say, hey, is the Dow up or down? You don't even have to ask. You already knew by the conversation.
Well, exactly. And listen, I'd rather have a ride in complete silence than just listening to some guy complain because so-and-so and just, it's stressful, man. It's a stressful environment, that whole Wall Street stuff and just being that kind of businessman. But that's just my opinion. That's the one person, because, it can be a girl too, that I just did not enjoy giving rides to.
That's funny. That's interesting. I almost wish you had teased that a little bit.
Sorry.
So we could have guessed.
Well, it was just completely random. Yeah, my bad, man.
Hey, come in the car and I'll give you an Uber ride and throw up if you want, but don't be that damn stock market guy that's going to talk about up and down stocks.
Dude, I'm serious, man. Like I've had to deal with drunk people before and everything, but it was that slick back. Because there's a type, right? It's the slick back hair, rocking the shades and everything on his Bluetooth. Not my style.
The AirPods.
Oh, the dude. So the dude's young though. The dude's probably my age or maybe a couple years older.
Yeah.
Just
got a lot of money. Thinks he's king of the world.
Zero social awareness, zero respect.
It's his world, and you're paying rent.
Exactly. And I'm trying to get you there safe.
Kuz, you be quiet about the AirPods.
What do you?
I see a lot of cool people with AirPods.
Truth be told, there weren't a lot of AirPods. They're more of like the traditional Bluetooth thing, which is weird for a 30-something-year-old to have. But,
yeah, that's like the old school.
The old school way.
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Let's continue on with balling and falling because we're talking about stocks up and down. How about balling and falling?
I like that. That's a nice segue right there. Balling. So last night during the Monday Night Raw pre-show, and I saw Kuz tweeted this out, Enes Kanter, Brent, NBA player, won the WWE 24/7 championship only to lose it a couple of seconds later. He shows up wearing a Boston Celtics jersey. The event was taped in New York, so obviously Madison Square Garden. They're kind of rivals, so I guess he was met with a crowd of boos when he won, only to get rolled up later and lose again. So thought it was kind of cool how they're you kind of see a trend of this now at WWE. I think they're starting to feel a little bit of heat with All Elite Wrestling. So I think they're trying to go more towards the, like the professional athlete, like the actor kind of route and getting like all these kind of, household names where I'm not saying Enes Kanter is a household name, but, they're trying to get the more social media stuff driven here. So it was cool to see Enes Kanter last night during Raw.
Kuz even knew you were going there today on the
Did you know I was going there?
Well, I had a feeling it would happen.
Yep.
All right, my ballin'. I'm going to give a shout out to the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. The Gator Bowl making an announcement today the honorary team in celebration of the 75th annual Gator Bowl game, the All Gator Bowl team. And I'm going to roll this off. I actually helped vote on this.
Oh, cool.
Even though I have not been around for 75 years. But it did come out this afternoon. And just listen to some of the players that played in Jacksonville at the Gator Bowl. And for a lot of folks that are new around here, the Gator Bowl now might be, what do we have, 40-something bowl games? So it's one of a lot of bowl games. And now the mega important games, the New Year's Six, but, those college football playoff games are above everything else.
Sure.
I mean, the 2 semifinal games. And there's still the pageantry of the Rose Bowl and everything else. But for a little history lesson, not that I'm the old guy, but if you're new in town or a little younger, I mean, there were 6 bowl games back in the day, and the Gator Bowl was one of them on New Year's Day. See, one of the big things there's 2 things that I miss from that maybe I do sound a little old guy, and I miss from the childhood growing up, and I remember watching it this way, is the old 4-screen on the March Madness on opening day on Thursday and Friday, where they would show all 4 games at the same time. And now they don't have to do that because the games are on like True TV and TBS and TNT and CBS. So they just show that now they might break in and show a little bit, but they used to do that a lot on Thursday and Friday. They would show all 4 games going on at the same time. It was like picture-in-picture times 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun.
That's cool.
Like, I got 4 games I'm watching right now. This is really cool. And you check in your scores and all that stuff. The other one is New Year's Day. New Year's Day used to be the day for college football bowl games, like the big games and all, but that was the day. You didn't want to move from 11 in the morning till deep at night.
Yeah.
And it's just not the way anymore because now they're bridged over, New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, maybe even a day after, and then the college football playoff games come even a couple days after that.
Yeah, yep.
So it's just different, and it's weird different. Like New Year's Day, when I'm watching college football game, there's only like 3 games on or 2 games on, whatever. It's like, wait a minute.
All like
you're supposed to be bouncing.
Bowl. It's, I get what you're saying.
But anyway, my point is, back in the day, the Gator Bowl was one of those big games. I mean, it was one of the games.
Yeah.
And so my ball is the team that they announced. Archie Manning, Floyd Little from Syracuse, Larry Zonka, Syracuse. Of course, many know him from the Dolphins.
Sure.
Fred Biletnikoff, FSU. Andre Rison, Michigan State. Ken McAfee, tight end from Notre Dame. Mark May, many people know him from now a broadcaster. Tackle for Pittsburgh. Greg Skrepanek. I don't even know that one very well. Tackle Michigan.
Okay.
Dean Dingman, Michigan guard. Zeke Smith, guard Auburn. Surprise, surprise, you're not going to know the guard names very well. Ed Reed, you know that name?
I've heard of him before.
Defensive back Miami.
Can give a hell of a speech.
Tony Lilly, Florida Gator fans. You know that name? DB from Florida. Hugh Green, defensive end Pittsburgh. Jack Youngblood, Florida, Hall of Famer. Wilbur Marshall, you know that name, linebacker Florida. Donovan Darius, played here in Jacksonville, but for this accolade, Syracuse guy. Mark McLaurin, Mississippi State DB. He played, that was last year's Gator Bowl.
Wow.
And he had a tremendous game. I'm a little surprised he got voted in. That was a newbie, but that's pretty cool that he already got voted on the team.
Yeah.
Matt Millen, Penn State. Ndamukong Suh, Nebraska. Ryan Shazier, Ohio State. And Lawrence Taylor played in the Gator Bowl here in Jacksonville back in the 35th Gator Bowl from North Carolina.
Did Nebraska play Texas? No, that wasn't the Gator. No.
No, in Ndamukong Suh year?
Yeah.
That was more recent. Nebraska against Clemson.
Yeah, because they're in the same. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, Clemson.
So, and by the way, Josh Dobbs, who the Jags just signed.
Sure.
Played in the Gator Bowl a few years back, I believe, when he was with Tennessee.
Gotcha.
And they crushed somebody. Maybe it was Iowa, something like that.
Yep.
But anyway, that's pretty cool. I mean, think about the names I just listed that played. And I think that's the bottom line is, and I know people will say it, and we get it a lot anytime we talk about the Gator Bowl. It's all what it used to be. It's this, it's that. The attendance is down. That's fine. I get it. It's reality. It's a tough deal in the bowl season.
Yeah.
Now, the bowl thing is really tough. It's so different. But I also think it should be celebrated, and it's really kind of cool that all those players played in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And not just when it was like the Gator Bowl, but over the years now, 75 years strong. So good for the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, the All-75 team. And we'll talk about that more and celebrate that a little bit more as we get closer to New Year's Day and the 75th edition of the Gator Bowl. All right, we're going to take a timeout. I promise on the other side, We'll have the Coach of the Week, brought to you by Baker Sports, and you've got to stay in your lane. And a final thought or two as we get ready to head into a Tuesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos, thanks for hanging out with us on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
I had no idea we were going to draft Blaine Gabbert. All right? Did your jaw just drop?
Yeah, it did. Did you sense the silence?
No idea. In fact, I left to go get something to eat because our pick wasn't for much longer in the draft.
You're supposed to pick 16th, yeah.
On ESPN 690.
At Planet Fitness, you can join a great gym for just 25 cents down. So you don't have to flip a coin between quality and price. You get both. Tons of equipment or free fitness training? Both. Great price or clean environment? Yep, both. Join Planet Fitness for 25 cents down and $10 a month with no commitment and get a great workout at a great value. Join in club or online at planetfitness.com.
Flash sale September 9th and 10th only. Hurry, join now.
See club for details.
There's a place right in town where you can find a wide range of John Deere products and solutions for your property. That's Ag Pro, and we're here to make sure you're equipped for anything. As the largest privately owned John Deere dealership in North America, our highly trained certified technicians make sure we're strong on service. See current offers and find your nearest Ag Pro location at agproco.com.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry, this free examination, normally $199, is yours for free and good only through Sunday. For your free examination, call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Call now.
Our partners at BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country, would like to thank all of the coaches out there who truly are the heart of the game. While BSN Sports is the best at equipping athletes with a one-stop shop for everything needed to run an athletic program, coaches are the best at equipping lives. And that's the real final score. Learn more about how BSN Sports can save you time off the field so you can impact more lives on it by calling your local BSN Sports sales professional or by visiting bsnsports.com today.
Shoelace is a dolphin. How about that? Denora Robinson joins us on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Hey, man, this is pretty cool news.
But it's exciting just to be back around football again. So,
Action Sports Jax, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and on your smart speaker.
We're talking about how young Tom Brady still looks. Like, he says he doesn't, drink coffee, or I think sugar's another one. They're really, doesn't partake in.
He's very strict in a lot of things.
So
in his
if you're
diet.
not drinking coffee and you're not putting sugar in your body, if we all did that, we'd probably look pretty young and still in our 40s.
He eats 16 peanuts for a snack. Like, that's his thing.
That's what it is?
Yeah, he had a book out, and I was reading
Probably should do almonds more than peanuts, though, right? I feel like almonds are healthier.
Macadamia nuts, you have them right now.
That's what I'm talking about.
I like those.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I look like I'm 50 years old, but it is what it is.
There's a fine line between that, right? I mean, I respect the discipline of that, especially if you're an athlete.
Yeah.
But at some point, don't you like, dude, you're missing out. I mean, those Skittles I had the other day were freaking awesome.
And the coffee in the morning. I mean, come on.
And the coffee, forget about it.
But, at the same time, though, Brent, it's all about how you feel, right?
It's true.
When I'm in a fight camp, I got to keep it pretty clean, because if I don't, I eat a lot of sugar, stuff like that, a lot of sweets, especially after I'm done working out, I'm going to feel a lot more sore than if I don't. So,
you feel awful after eating all that stuff. So it's true.
Tom Brady's just really super in tune with his body, good for him.
It's allowed him to play at a high level. There's definitely a correlation.
I will say this, though. It also helps to be a millionaire and be able to do that because it costs a lot more to eat healthy than it does to eat like crap.
I'll give him this, though. I mean, listen, it does.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you also are afforded the opportunity to go vacation and indulge and splurge. And shoot, if I had that kind of money, I'd probably weigh 300. I mean... Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if I'd have that discipline.
We've seen him chug, so he can party if he wants to.
Yeah, party it up.
I guess he does drink a little bit, so he doesn't. It's not no sugar.
It's in the off season, probably.
Yeah, but I don't think beer has sugar.
Beer not sugar thing?
No. Mm-mm. Trust me, I've done some beer research.
Is it more like bread? They always say it's
all
like
bread
bread.
stuff.
Yeah,
all the carbs. I'm thinking the carbs. I'm thinking all the carbs.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're drinking.
So he does
like
have carbs.
He has carbs. Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Carbs not going to kill you.
All right. Hey, our Baker Sports Coach of the Week. Going to get to it. Robert Shields from Baldwin. How about Baldwin? The Indians. Well, he's a first-year head coach. He's 3-0. They beat Westside, who was 2-0. They played on Monday Night Football last night, and Baldwin gets the win. So Robert Shields is our Week 3 Coach of the Week, Baker Sports, first-year head coach out there at Baldwin, doing a nice job. Baldwin has, over the years, sneaky good players. They get kind of forgotten about sometimes, way out there in the west side. But nice job by Robert Shields and a good start for Baldwin. By the way, our game of the week this week, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Initially, it was Lee and Ribault, but I had to shift it around because of all the hurricane changes.
Yeah.
And we are actually going to have West Side at Jackson on Friday night, 6 o'clock game right here on ESPN 690. So we're looking forward to that. All right, we got to get to Stay in Your Lane. You get to it right now.
Stay in your lane real quick, Brent. Yep, thank you, Coos. Right on time. No, that's good, man. You're doing your job. I'm not hating on you. But stay in your lane, Brent. So with the NFL season comes NFL season sound bites. And 2 of them today that I really enjoyed from this past weekend. We got Delaney Walker talking about the Browns, how they might have been a little overhyped, like Mr. Martineau called. And then we got my MVP right now, the dude that's leading my fantasy team, Lamar Jackson, talking about playing the quarterback position.
Recircle this game. This is just another game. We ain't worried about it. I'm going to tell you again, man. They were who we thought they were. Y'all can crown them if you want to crown them. Still got to play football.
And then Kuz hit me with that Lamar Jackson audio real quick. My MVP, dude. Going to take me to another fantasy championship.
Probably not. Not bad for a running back.
I love it. So when he was asked, the ability to pass more than run the ball, obviously, as he's been known for the past season. That was his response. He's not bad for running back.
And the first soundbite you heard was Delaney Walker.
Yeah.
And that was kind of paying homage to Dennis Green, the late head coach, remember?
Yep.
You want to crowd him? Crowd him. That was that whole thing.
Let him off the hook. Yep. Pump your brakes real quick, Brent. Probably the biggest story after the Super Bowl was the fact that the Saints fans were bitter. They were upset. Well, it happened again last night. The refs made a horrible call on a challenge due to a spot, basically, of a 4th and 1 or a first down. Well, they got the call right of where the ball should have been spotted, but unfortunately, they didn't get the clock right. It was 41 seconds. Well, the Saints ran it down to 26 seconds, and when they reset the clock after the spot thing, it was at 26 seconds instead of 41 seconds. Refs got to be better, man.
Tough to be a ref.
Got to be
and
better.
Doing a game for the Saints.
Find him, Brent. Let's go.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll get some news on the Jags injuries tomorrow. We'll be down there at Jags headquarters. Plus tonight, check us out on TV, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Have a good one.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.